flicker like broken halos. Whispers gather in the smoke-filled air. Tables carved with secrets and shadows. Every story's a wound laid bare. The kettle's boiling with a restless rage. Justice written on an unseen page. I sip the silence, bitter taste, waiting for the ghosts to show their face. At the TruCrime Cafe, we serve up the pain they try to hide away. Pour another cup of the truth you crave. Raise your glass to the names they betrayed. Mirrors cracked, reflections are liars. Ashes fall where the guilty once stood. The jukebox hums like a funeral choir. Echoes pounding through the neighborhood. Every scar is a candlelit vow. We hunt the how, we demand the now. No more silence, no more disguise. We'll paint the night with sharpened cry. At the TruCrime Cafe, we serve up the pain they try to hide away. Pour another cup of the truth you crave. Raise your glass to the names they betray. This is not a sermon, it's a battlefield hymn, a requiem dripping from the bottle's rim. The guilty write stories in invisible ink, but we'll drag it all up from the edge of the brave. At the TruCrime Cafe, the reckoning burns like a black bouquet. Every shadow will pay. In the TruCrime Cafe.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. Doing a secondary show, evening show, I guess we could call it, so that I could be joined by one of the most amazing resources that has joined us recently in the true crime community, Mr. Travis from Travesty Logic, who has been doing a lot of statement analysis breakdowns on a lot of the interviews that we have been seeing. And he does an amazing job. I've learned a lot from him, from the things that he's said and done, to be able to understand some of the things in the interviews that we just didn't get. And he does an amazing job at breaking these down, I think. Tonight, we're going to be going over and breaking down why he thinks, the things that Travis thinks about the Peter E. interview. I can't say his last name, so I'm not going to try to. And some other things as well, and breaking that down as to why he came to that decision as to what he did with those things. So we will definitely be having an interesting conversation about that. I'm looking forward to. Please make sure to hit the like button and share this out. Should you choose to, I appreciate it very much. If you are not subscribed, please do so. and hit the notification bell. That way you don't miss anything. Thank you to Miss Bianca and Leah, or what moderators are here with us. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate that very much. And let's get the show on the road and welcome Mr. Travis. Welcome back, sir. How are you?
Hey, what's up, man? What's up? I'm doing great. How are you?
I am wonderful. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
You too, sir. Thank you.
Hope you're having a great day today. And again, I know you worked all day, and here you come in to do this again. So I appreciate you taking time out of your day to do this.
Absolutely.
Let me see here. I'm going to give it a few minutes to allow some people to jump in here because we don't have that many peeps in here yet. We went through that pretty quick. I usually run some music at the beginning to give people a chance to jump in, but I kicked right into it because I didn't want to leave you waiting.
I like the rock intro. Is that how it always intros for your show?
Yeah, I have a couple that I use. That one, I have a heavier one that I use that shows me bouncing around and fighting with people and stuff like that Scully made for me.
Cool.
So yeah, I got a couple just that way people don't get bored. And I some other songs that I've created to keep people entertained because I usually open up 15 minutes early to allow people to come in and see it. And then I play some of these weird songs that I make that they have a little bit of entertainment. So,
like that you wrote or like that you like use
I've written and I've done lyrics. I wrote all the lyrics on them and then I put them into an AI program and I set up the type of instruments and stuff I wanted to use and then I let it create it. Yeah.
Nice. Do you use Suno?
Suno, yeah. It's the best one I've found so far.
Cool.
And it allows us, yeah. Like we've actually put some of the songs I've written. My son will do some guitar riffs and stuff, and it'll let you upload it to use that guitar riff, and then it bounces off of it. It's kind of cool.
What? Man, we should collab.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'd love to actually get. I said before when we talked, I'm looking for an electronic drum set now because I'm too old to play a real one anymore.
Yeah.
It's a little easier, but if I can do that and I can get my son to do certain things, but there's a lot of musicians out here that we could all. I think it'd be a hell of a thing for us all to get together and collab on things. It'd be fun. So it's called Suno.
That's cool. Yeah, the little music parts that I have on my channel are just me recording my guitar. So I love.
I thought your intro I thought was you playing too. I kind of figured it was. It sounds great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I just play this little amp that you just like plug into the guitar. It's just some like cheap Chinese thing that my dad got for me on Christmas. Yeah, and it doesn't sound too bad. Just recording on the mic here. I mean, it's not perfect, but
no, of course. I got my son has a little one. It's about this big that came with his newer guitar that he's got, and it's made by Pyle, I think, which they make speakers, and it's got a good sound. I have an orange. I like orange amps. I have two of those that I play through. I like the tube stuff.
Sweet, yes, sir. The tubes.
It's got the best sound ever. And then of course, because I'm not a guitar, I play bass, but not by trade. I'm a drummer by trade. So, but I'll play around with whatever. And it'll pick up. The microphone picks up pretty decent. You have to put it right in front of it, and it does a good job. I'm surprised. So
that's cool.
Absolutely. Come on in, guys. Grab a seat. Get off your feet. Grab your cup. Fill it up. Get comfortable. We got a great show coming your way. I cannot wait to get into this. We're going to be looking into Peter E. Because I cannot say the man's last name. I tried it many times and I butchered every time. And what Travis's thoughts and feelings are about his interviews. Maybe the final feelings about Miss Bethany and or Dylan at the end of what he thinks. So hopefully it'll be an interesting show. And of course, I'll allow for questions. And if, as I say all the time, because it does work better for me now, if you're going to have questions when we get to that point, please put a Q in front of it. That way I recognize it and I don't pass by it. That works very well for me now. So thank you guys. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you for being here. Anybody, by the way, I have to say this because of the last show, anybody that may have gotten upset, my apologies that happened. I promise you that won't happen again, ever, in any fashion. And moving forward with that, just take that into account is all I'm saying. Yeah, I had a show about 20 minutes before this one that did not go very well. So
oh no, man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. It happens. People get opinions and upset about things and then things start flying and I don't like it, but it happens. So hopefully we won't have to worry about that again. I think I've dealt with it.
I don't know, man. We got a lot of beef to get sorted through,
I mean, hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Again, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. Again, please hit that like button, share this out if you will, let everybody know what we have going on tonight, and we are going to jump into it. So, once again, if you don't mind, Travis, can you, because I don't know how many people know who you are, or no, I know there's a lot that do know you, but could you explain who you are, why you're here, and what happened that brought you here?
Yeah. So my name's Travis, and my wife is a big true crime, avid listener. She is, huge fans of Dago um, and Lana and Bronx Tales and a bunch of others. And she's been following the Idaho 4 case since 2022. And I've been busy with other things. She would occasionally tell me about things, and she also follows a lot of other cases. And so she did tell me some things about Idaho 4, but I just never really sunk my teeth into it myself until not too long ago. She actually showed me the 911 call and for Idaho 4, and that's what intrigued me because I have statement analysis training. I learned from Peter Hyatt. I took his private course. I think it was called Deception Detection Course, Level 1. I took that in 2018 and got 99% of the way through and never actually submitted my final test. I have it all completed in this packet and was going to pursue it. Was really going to see what kind of career opportunities would open up from there. I loved it, and I soaked in everything Peter taught. I watched every YouTube channel he made, every YouTube video he made on it, and at the same time, just for family reasons, had gotten remarried, went from 2 to 4 kids to within 2 years went to 6, and trying to do a career kind of thing. So just put it on the back burner. And so anyway, so fast forward to, I think it was about a month and a half ago, I listened to that 911 call, and my wife, Arian, she had been telling me for 4 years, like, Travis, like, you could really bring something to this community. Your statement analysis, I think, would really help people understand some things. And so once I heard that 911 call, I was like, okay, I got to do an analysis on this. And I finally just, threw it up there. And, Dago specifically, as one of a couple others, just really, shot my name out there and shared it and shared my material and my analysis. And, it's just snowballed into doing more, and I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, that's about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I couldn't help myself either when you first came onto the scene. I remember, I think it was the first show you did. I said, "Holy hell, this guy's really good at this." So, of course, that is exactly why we did that like that. And I'm glad it's working out. And I'm glad that you're still doing this. And I hope you continue to do this for a long time. So I'm grateful for you. Very much so. And real quick, I want to give you guys just a quick thing here before we jump into this. A lot of people don't know who Peter Hyatt is. I'm going to show a quick clip of Peter Hyatt.
Cool.
Very quick. Because I know it's one thing I never did in the beginning. I planned on it. I never got around to it, so that people know who Peter Hyatt is and what Travis has learned from. This is just going to be a real quick, small clip of him going over some things in the Madeline McCann case, which he did a very good job on. Just so you guys realize who he may be. You may have seen him and not realized it, or if not, you'll know who he is now.
Welcome to this video on the disappearance of Madeline McCann. Madeline McCann case has been covered for many years now. It continues to gain interest as the years have gone by, rather than lose interest, and that is something I'd like to address. I frequently get requests to analyze whatever their latest statement is, and I thought maybe it'd be best to cover some of the aspects of that, and then perhaps some plans for the future. In the Madeline McCann case, the little girl Madeline went missing, and she was reported by her parents. At YouTube, a documentary by Richard Hall exists in which statement analysis is highlighted, called Embedded Confession. So if you go to YouTube and search on Embedded Confession of McCann or Richard Hall, you'll be able to get a little bit of an insight into My conclusions regarding that case. When the parents of Madeleine McCann first spoke in the early days of the interviewing, they were indicated for deception and guilty knowledge of what happened to the child, as well as their participation in the cover-up and disposing of the body. I don't believe that, from the language at least, that the death was intentional, but very likely came as a result of the McCanns anesthetizing the child in order for them to go out to a dinner party with friends.
There you go, guys. That's Mr. Hyatt himself talking about the Madeleine McCann case, and I agree fully with what he just said there. That's what my conclusion was with this as well. And by learning some of the things that he has taught on this, I followed some of his stuff with that, and I came to that same conclusion as him based on what he has put out there. So this is where Travis got a lot of his insight from, and a lot of his, well, basically all of your,
everything.
Yeah, your teachings from, is that if I'm correct? Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just learned his principles that he taught. Really fantastic teacher. And that McCann case, that show, he referenced Richard Hall. I think it was Richard Planet TV or something like that. That's what started it all for me. Watching him just blew my mind as he went through that interview with them parents.
Right.
And just, I felt like, oh my gosh, this is hidden in plain sight, and this guy can clarify this, and the way he articulated things, and it was one of those things where once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yes.
You can't look at it any other way after that.
And I agree. In fact, I'm going to put Peter's link in the chat, whether unfortunately he's not with us any longer, but he still has videos out there that you can refer back to from any case that he's covered. They're still there. It's out there. His link is right there. Subscribe to his channel, go check it out. And please, I'm telling you, Peter's probably, in my opinion, one of the best as far as this is concerned. At least in my opinion. I'm sure in Travis's as well. So, his channel's still going from my understanding. I'm not saying there's anything new, but the stuff he's put out there is very, very interesting at the very least. So thank you, Bianca. Go check him out, guys. And real quick, Travis, do you have any kind of financial links or anything that you do to support your channel that you put out there? Cash App and PayPal, anything?
Yeah, I mean, I do have a Venmo and Cash App. It's Travis T Logic.
Okay.
Both of them. So do you want me to?
Yeah, throw those in the private chat because people are asking how they can support you that way. If you don't mind, private chat, not the back.
Private chat, yeah.
And then I'll go ahead and put those out for people that want to go ahead and support Travis that way. And it is appreciated. There's one. Miss Bianca's already on it. There you go. Thank you, Bianca. Right there.
Oh, there you go.
That gets them all. You don't have to worry about it, bud. Yes. Thank you. Bianca's amazing. She does a great job. Thank you very much. And if anybody's interested in supporting Travis, please feel free. Again, I'm sure, as always, like with the rest of us, it's never expected, but it is always appreciated to help us keep running our channels and doing the things we do. So thank you guys very much. And thank you again, Bianca. God bless, hon. All right. So, and again, Travis has done, for those of you that aren't familiar, he's done Dylan Mortenson's both interviews. I think you didn't do the Gooch interview yet, did you?
I haven't. We've touched on that. I think, did we do that?
A little bit. We did a little bit.
We did a little bit of that. And then me and Logan have been going through Dylan's interview with Williamson.
Yes. Yeah.
But I did a thorough analysis of Dylan's first interview that day, November 13th.
Yes. Yeah. And then, of course, Bethany Funk. And we had Travis join us on the verdict room with myself, Logan, Kim, and Mike. And we did a little bit of live statement analysis, just a little bits and pieces here and there. Mm-hmm. He did a great job as well. And so he's and he came into the case, like I said, with very little basic knowledge that his wife had given him. And he's looked at every analysis that he's covered as though that person going into this is absolutely nothing but innocent knowledge, no guilty knowledge. He listens to it. The interview, breaks down the transcript, and then he gives his opinions on it. And he does a great job, folks, as he's done with all of these thus far. I guess before we jump into Peter, since most of us have seen the other stuff you did, let me ask you this real quick. What are your, I guess your final final analysis per se in a nutshell, if you can break it down with Bethany now, since you've covered her as well.
Yeah, I mean, pretty similar to Dylan. I think Bethany shows that she is somewhat, in some way, involved in the murders. Is that she was a quiet observer who, didn't actually physically do anything,
Right.
but also didn't do anything to hinder it. you know,
Right. That's a big
um,
problem. Yeah.
yeah. I think there's big problems with her statement. The way that she talks about the victims is troubling. Um, I have Peter on my mind, so but yeah, I kind of group Dylan and Bethany in that same vein. That there were a lot of problems with what they were saying. They were very cagey in the sense that they walked a tightrope between trying not to act like they had a big problem with why they didn't call 911. And that
Yeah.
was extremely clear in their interview. And there was just a lot of problems with the way they spoke about it. Had Bethany spoken well of the roommates, had she talked to and spoken to, I can't believe I didn't do anything about this, any sort of um, humanity about that,
Yeah.
you know?
Good word. Good word. Yes.
um, you
Any guilt.
know, yeah, I mean, how do you not have that guilt? And so that is really troubling. It does really seem like they either helped the intruder or intruders or the murderer or murderers do this thing. I'm also cautious about Lakeland. They both talk about Lakeland. There's some deception about Lakeland.
Yeah.
So she's on my radar. Peter kind of got there because of the recent interviews that popped up and just hearing the fact that he was close to Ethan and that he was one of the last ones to see Ethan and Xana. I just could not help myself. It's like, wow, I have to
Of
have
course.
to,
Of course.
So the way I'm looking at it is Bethany and Dylan were both really close to the fire there. I'm very suspect of them, and I am also suspect of Peter. And basically, the way I told my wife, like, I just want to whoever's closest to the fire, whoever was closest that night, and I just want to spread out from there and see when that kind of stops. When it's like, okay, now I'm starting to run into people that don't appear to be involved at all.
Right. Yeah. And it's interesting because um this is Peter E. Every time I try, I want to try to say the man's last name, and I just can't do it because I'm gonna trash it. But was the last person to see Xana and Ethan. Xana and Ethan are the two people that we have never been given a timeline for. There's never been anything put out that makes any sense with timeline. There's never been any true to form. Like, there's 4 people involved in this murder, folks. 4 people. 2 of them we know were on one floor, 2 on another floor. 2 of them we have an exact time when they got home. 2 of them we have no clue where they were. That's a problem. So to know that Pete was the last, if not one of the last people to see them, is huge in this case, and it would give us, in my opinion, an understanding of what could have happened or what may have happened. Could it have involved them? Did they? I've always said I have a couple different theories that maybe they were the first to be attacked. We don't know. Maybe they were home before anybody was home, and they were in their room with the door closed. We don't know this, okay? And then we see videos from Linda Lane where we see who looks like to be Ethan and Pete walking into an apartment over there. At the same time, we know that Xana was supposed to be at one place. We get different text messages about all of this, okay? Everything we know. And so at this point, knowing that this man was the last person, supposedly, quote unquote, to be spending time with them, and then he claims in his interview, the second one, the first interview, and we're going to talk about that. His first interview, he says he asked everyone, and he didn't. Nobody remembers if they went to the fraternity next door with him or not.
That's
The
right.
second interview, he says they did not, and they went home, as far as he knows. 2 different answers. So we're going to get into that a little bit. And I think it's very interesting. So, that's where we're going to go from there. Travis, I'm going to ask you to hold on for just 1 second. I have to refill my cup. I'm sorry. I didn't realize it would empty that fast. And everybody make sure that you're saying hello if you can, please and thank you. It'll give us a minute for a couple other people to jump in, and I will be right back. Let's get this thing moving, folks.
Yeah, so while Dago's going and doing his thing, if y'all haven't checked out my analysis, I do a really long one of Peter's El Goriaga, I believe is how you say it. His first interview over the phone with a detective and a trooper, I believe 5 days after the murders. And it's a short interview, but I feel like there was a lot to glean from that. The analysis of Peters was really long. It was almost 3 hours. I did not intend it for that to be that long. And it is a little boring. It's hard to get through. So if that's not your cup of tea, I did make a second one that is a nice summary of like my conclusions and why I was thinking what I was thinking. I think there's 9 points, and I also do bring in some examples in the statement as to my reasoning of those conclusions. It's only about 45 minutes, so recommend y'all to check that out. And I'm sure Dago is probably gonna at one point we might get into that and rap about it. But yeah, Peter is a very interesting character. So I'm excited to talk to Dago more about Mr. Peter. And like we talked about, I also analyzed Dylan Mortenson's. I have like a 3 or 4 video series on that, and Bethany's as well. And we also, the first time I was on Dago's channel in the verdict room, we also did go over the 911 call. We covered that a bit, and so you can check that out on Dago's channel, or you can check it out on mine. I reposted it on mine, that tidbit. But yeah, I'm still hammering through these interviews. Got a lot more to go. And I'm right now, I've been listening to Peter's second interview. In fact, while I was working today, writing up a report, I was just making notes about what was kind of standing out to me for Peter's second interview, December 5th. So I didn't get through the whole thing with my notes, but I did listen to it one time with no notes, and then I started making some notes. And so I think I'm going to do kind of a summary of that one instead of going into like a 3 or 4 video series. I believe I'm just going to do kind of another summary one for that, and just kind of build off of the first one that I did of Peter. So, all right. I did the best I could to ad lib there.
Oh, you did amazing. I could hear you while I was waiting for my coffee to brew. So thank you for that, sir. I filled my cup right before I started this, but I realized I went through it fast, so I had to refill it. So thank you, and I'm sorry about that. You
gotta have a coffee, job, man. You got a cafe over here.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes, the sign's right there. Cafe. I've capped 2 different cafes. So yes. And again, everybody, please and thank you, if you will. Please make sure, if you have not yet subscribed to Travesty Logic. You're making a mistake, folks. I'm telling you. And questions that you have about these interviews are very well answered in a lot of senses, in my opinion, based on what the analysis that Travis does. As none of us don't know what to look for, what to listen for. I mean, in a basic sense, sure, okay, but he really breaks it down and teaches. He teaches by doing what he does. Like I said, I've learned a lot about sensitivity to different questions and situations within interviews and so on and so forth. So, and we were just talking right before we came in here about the follow-up questions that don't exist within these interviews for the most part, and how law enforcement is basically asking questions and then answering the questions for them at the same time. And we both agree it's kind of a strange thing. So,
Yep.
Definitely. Welcome everybody that's joined us. I see, looks like we have 139 people in the house. Thank you for joining us. Make sure to hit the like button. Share this out if you will. I do appreciate you all joining us. So, I'm going to show you the beginning of when Travis jumped into Pete's first interview, which we know was the shorter one. The less in-depth questions were asked in this one. And then we'll just go ahead and take off from there and let him do his thing as we talk about that. So 1 minute here. Thank you, Chris.
Analyzed his whole entire statement. So I know that I said I was going to go over Lakeland, but I just couldn't help it. There were a few things that he said, but one thing in particular that I just couldn't let go. So let's get into it. All right.
Hello?
Hello, this is Detective Lehman with the Idaho State Police. Is this,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to pronounce your last name. It's a beautiful last name.
Yep, Basque.
Yeah, so the reason why I'm reaching out to you, we are following up with the today. Things have kind of needed to be expedited, so I'm going to reach out to you by phone, and has said that you may be one of the people who was with Zaina and Ethan in the early morning hours. I'll just let you speak for a moment. Tell me about that.
Okay, yeah, I was with him. We were at the Sigma Chi party.
Okay.
It ended at 1 o'clock, and we went back down to my.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay. I guess I'll go ahead and just let you go from there and do your thing and explain what you're going to explain.
Yeah. Well, something that now that I'm listening to a second interview, I'll just say as a general observation is, and maybe it's the images that also kind of make me a little biased about this, but the way that he spoke on the phone with the trooper and the detective, I was getting like, I don't know. I just overall got like, wow, this is like a Boy Scout, this is a,
yeah, absolutely.
I told that to my son. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm old, man.
Yeah, right.
But because listening to him talk to Lake was like two different people. He was cussing, he was just so relaxed, and it was like, and as I was preparing for this show with you, I was thinking about that. I'm like, is it the difference between him putting on, like, I don't know, him interacting with a female versus him interacting with a male?
Thank you. I'm glad you pointed that out, because I myself personally, like, when I listened to this, he was the right way. Okay. He was very respectful. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. All that kind of stuff. And he jumped into Detective Late's interview like, what's up, bro? Long time no see. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it was so weird to me. And excuse the phrasing, folks, but he was like, well, they were fucking around with this and dropping F-bombs here and there and doing that. I'm like,
right.
Whoa, you're super comfortable with this guy, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. I agree with you. I'm glad you brought that up right out of the gate, because that was something that really threw me sideways. Like, wow, you either know this guy, or that's just your personality. And here's how I see it too, you guys. I'm gonna say this: it's almost like he's putting on a show for Leslie Lehman, and then he seemed to relax more with, like, does he do this? My question here is, and this is what I'm asking you too, Travis, with somebody like this. Does he adapt to every person he talks to and like adapt to that situation? I wonder.
That's a great question, man. I mean, it's cool that you noticed that too. I honestly did not know that you noticed that. So if you had said that in previous shows or something, I didn't see that. So
right. Yeah.
That's cool. And yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder, is this because there's also a time problem here too? Like, that's a variable in the sense that this was the first one was 5 days out. And then this one, the second one was what, another 2 or 3 weeks?
I think, yeah.
December 5th,
Roughly,
right? Yeah.
roughly, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe there was that, and the concern there is that when someone who's lying and they realize they're getting away with it, all of a sudden they
Uh-huh.
are more confident and they're a little bit more loose and, "Hey, I'm not a suspect anymore." Um,
Yep.
and even in this first interview, I wondered about that because, he was caught in 2 lies in this interview, and they both were lies about what he said at the beginning of the interview versus what he said at the end.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and I wondered in the analysis, I speculated that it might have been because when he first began this interview with Layman and the trooper, he may have been very concerned that he was a suspect. By the end of it, I think he psychologically realized I'm not a suspect. They're not wondering if I'm the guy.
Yeah, that's a very good point, and it makes you wonder, did he feel like, "I got this. I got this. I
Exactly.
can handle this," and that's a like I told you, dude, I've learned from you since I've been watching. I watch everything you do now, so I've learned certain things to watch for, certain words, certain activities or actions, I'm sorry, not activities that are done within these, so I'm learning little by little, and
Yeah.
yeah, that right there, I caught immediately, like, wow, what a big difference this is from the first one, and granted, like you said, a couple weeks, yeah, but that's he's overconfident in the Joe Lake one. He really is.
Yeah. So it could be because of that very reason. It could also be he acts very differently around females than he
Yep.
does males. And that is also insightful too. They're both insightful and multiple things can be true here.
Yeah.
It could be both things. But to be honest with you, my initial response was he acts different around the guys. So
Yep.
which I mean, that is humanity. There is a certain level of we do kind of change. But these are detectives.
Thank you.
So we're talking about the murdering of your friends. You wouldn't expect too much change.
No.
So
No, I agree, and I almost and we'll probably talk about this here soon too, but the lack of what I feel to be compassion or emotion is
yes.
another part of this that got to me too, before we get into I'm not trying to jump too
Mhm.
far ahead, but yeah,
No, it's
and
good.
this was his best friend, okay? So,
Supposedly,
I saw thank you, allegedly. Exactly.
allegedly. Yeah, and I
Which
wanna
is
s Oh, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, which is now in question in my mind. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
It's very much a question in my mind, and one thing that's very frustrating for me is both of these investigators gave that to him. Instead of, "Hey, tell us about your relationship with Ethan." They both contaminated what I call contaminated in statement analysis. Anytime an investigator gives words to the subject, an interviewer done properly should be using words that do not contaminate the statement at all. They don't fill in any blanks at all.
Right.
And both of these interviewers just kind of gave that. It was presupposed in the interview that he was really close to Ethan. That's a huge mistake.
Yes.
So
Yeah. You're giving him that leeway. You're giving him that doorway to do what he wants to do and to take control of the interview, in my opinion, as
yes,
compared to you taking control of the interview and letting him come to
yes.
you. That's how I see it.
Well, and what's weird is, and I'm jumping interviews here. Sorry,
No, you're
y'all.
good. You're good. Do
Okay,
it, please. That's why we're here.
okay, cool. So the second one, something I noted is Lake gives this example of this room full of 100 people, and there was some sort of big issue between them, and he's like, and the people who were kind of there, and Peter fills in the blank here for Lake, and he says the guy, I think he said the guy sitting right next to him,
Yeah.
and even Peter knows that it could be the guy sitting right next to him.
Yes.
Well, Peter is
Right.
the guy sitting right next to him. Not
Exactly. That
only
would be
that, oh, sorry, I was just gonna say, not only that,
keep going.
but Peter, in his own words, says that this was a crime of passion, I believe he said. He says that. I mean, that blew me away. That is ultimate leakage. If you are an innocent person, an innocent friend who has no idea who did this, you would not make those sort of assumptions.
Agreed.
You just wouldn't, because you don't know, was this just some guy off the street, some, homeless dude who just picked a house and saw some partying and saw some females and went, I'm just going to go slash them up. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Was this a burglary gone wrong? You would not make assumptions about that. You would be wondering about it. But the fact that he says that is really, it's suspect, and
and I agree with you. He does. And in the second interview, like I said, we're jumping back and forth, which is fine with me. That's the best way to do it, I think. He does that a lot, I think. I think Lake even gives him a little bit of bait to he asks him at one point, so how does this guy look to you? Meaning, the person that committed the crimes, how does he look to you? Meaning in your mind's eye, not like visually, but like, who do you think this would be? And he gives him a little bit of rope to go ahead and pull on that with. And he says some things that like really took me like, wait a minute, like you're going in a direction here that I would not expect unless you know certain things that he shouldn't know at all, in my opinion, is what my thoughts were. So
me and my wife were just talking about that. I thought it was so strange that he even answered the question. I mean, I'm putting myself in his shoes, and it's like, you're asking me to explain who I felt did it. I wasn't there. It could be an 8-foot guy. There could be multiple. Why are you? Why would you be asking me that? I have no idea. I'm here wondering, who have you found and what? You tell me, man. And to even give an answer is, I don't know. I mean, why would you even ask that question unless you're hoping that they'll give you something because you think they're a suspect, and it's kind of a trick question. It seems like a trick question to me.
Yes. I agree with you. And like I said, I felt like Detective Lake gave him a little bit of rope maybe to hang himself with there. And the way he explained in the very beginning of the second interview, I think they took a good half hour to explain. Lake explains to him how good of an investigative team that they have, that they put together, and all this other stuff that had nothing to do with this interview. He goes through for a good 30 minutes, and then they get to the point, and I almost took that as like he was trying to intimidate Pete to make him feel like, we got this, you're not going to get away with this type stuff. Like he's feeling like Pete may have some guilty knowledge of something. And that was my take on it, just to start with, right out of the gate. And then they get into this whole thing. So again, thank you, Enod, very much. Says that they just Venmoed both me and Travis. Thank you very much. It's very much appreciated. God bless.
Yeah, I just got some notifications. I just want to shout out Laura Mead and Witchy Jen Miller. Thank you so much, guys.
You guys are awesome. Very much so. Thank you guys so very much. You have no idea what that means.
Very kind.
Yes, very much. And God bless to all of you guys, truly.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Go for it. Yeah, good points too. Good points.
So let's just jump back into what we're actually listening to. So one thing that's really interesting is just to kind of help everyone kind of lock back in here. The detective actually asked a really good question. Those were rare so far in these 3 major interviews that I've done. Just calling a spade. But when she says, I'll let you speak for a moment and tell me about that, it's really good. And the reason, just to kind of teach you a little bit about statement analysis too, is statement analysis is best, and really there's a huge caveat unless this is true, and that is that the subject is using the free editing process. And in fact, in the Peter Hyatt video, he actually had FEP up on that whiteboard, and that's what he's talking about. That is where there is no leading questions. Dago, did you feel bad about that? I led you to feeling bad, rather than tell me how you felt about that.
Right. Yeah.
And that allows you, or the subject, to just go into freely. The brain is free to grab the words from its dictionary, and organize it where there is no constraint. There are no constraints. So the fact that the detective let out like this was really great. And we got some really interesting information. He starts with, okay, yeah, I was with him. Now, in my analysis, I wasn't 100% sure that he said him.
Right.
It's like 95%. So it's just kind of weird, though, that he says that, because the detective asked specifically about Xana and Ethan in the early morning hours. And so he takes that and he goes, yeah, okay, yeah, I was with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then right after him, he says, we were at the Sigma Chi party.
Yep.
So kind of weird. And one thing that people will do is they will conceal. And I saw this with Bethany. She concealed who we were. So she didn't explain who was all there. She just wrapped it up in a we and concealed that to the investigator. So that can be used as deceptive. It can be used deceptively. And so I'm not saying he used it deceptively, but I'm just saying it's something that right there is the weird part here. Yeah. And then does he say, I'm not sure if we played it, but he also says it ended at 1. And
Right.
we went back down to my blank. And I thought that was unnecessary information, that it ended at 1. I used to do a lot of parties. Parties never ended at a certain specific time.
Yeah.
It seemed to me right off the bat, well, I wondered, is this scripting? Is he scripting a timeline here rather than just telling us what happened?
Very good point. Very good point. Interesting, too.
So,
yes. Good stuff so far. All right. I'm going to play some more here.
cool.
Going forward. Thank you, guys. For those of you that are just now joining us, thank you for being here. Again, our special guest tonight is Travis with Travesty Logic. We're doing a breakdown, in-person breakdown, I should say, with Travis tonight on Pete. Let's try it. Elgorgia. Am I saying it right? I hope.
Elgoria, I think
Elgoria. Is there an extra G? That's what I always screwed up. Elgoria. There we go. I said it.
That sounds
Good
fun.
Lord. Thank you. So we're doing a live breakdown of Pete Elgoria's interview with the first one right now with Detective Leslie Lehman, and I think it's Trooper Kristen. I can't remember the rest of her name.
Yes, you're right. Yes, you're right.
Okay. And a little bits and pieces of Pete's second interview with Detective Lake. We're throwing back and forth here. So good stuff. And thank you guys for being here. Please make sure to hit the like button and share this out. And here we go. This is Pistol Pete. Yes, Deb Tutro. For those of you that aren't familiar, within the book that we read, there's a text message from Xana to somebody by the name of Pistol Pete. That is who we're alleging that this is Pete Elgoria.
Here we go. Okay, how are we looking? All right. So the analyst, myself, is presupposing that the subject is innocent and has no guilty knowledge of the deaths of the 4 victims in the Idaho 4 case. So we have Detective Lehman and Trooper Kristen. This interview took place on November 18th, 2022. And by the way, this video does not have transcripts at this point, or like a transcript on YouTube. It looks like, not that I could tell. Yeah, it still is not on there. I just wanted to double check. And there's also not subtitles. So it's just going to be audio on that, but it is what it is. All right. So we have the greeting here and an explanation. I don't know what happened here. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to pronounce your last name. It's a beautiful last name. Yep, Basque. I don't know what he says there. So I would love it if someone explained that to me. That was super weird. Really has no bearing. Hey, let me say something on that. Just
absolutely. Yes, sir. So
someone, a couple of people actually explain what that is, and it's actually pretty fascinating. So let's see, where is it? It's BASQUE is actually what it is.
Like basking in the glow? type?
No, it's actually so. Surname is from the Basque region, Pyrenees Mountains, which is in France and Spain. There is, let's see, hold on, let me find it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like his
heritage.
His heritage. Thank you. Yes, it's a Spanish name, and there's actually a Basque community. There's some, I can't remember who.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
A pretty big deal in ranching and shepherding community.
Blue Devil says Basque is a distinct indigenous European ethnic group native to the Western Pyrenees mountain region spanning northern Spain and southwestern France. I did not know that. Interesting.
Yeah, and someone said something even more interesting about how in that area there is a Basque community. Here we go.
Okay.
There's a huge community of Basque people in Idaho, specifically Boise. There's a Basque-centered section in downtown Boise with restaurants and museums. They also have Basque festivals. So that's just it's interesting.
Most definitely. I mean, I've never heard of anything like that. I mean, I have, but you know, different variations and stuff. That's wild, though. I will be looking into that now that I know that, because I didn't realize, you know, that, and it sounds like the way he was saying it, like he's explaining, like, this is what we are. This, if you want to look into that, this is who we are. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
and CK Kaz says that David Barracoa is Basque as well. So I'm going to look into that. I'm curious now to see what the background is with those types of people and everything involving them. That's interesting. I'm grateful that you brought that up, sir, because no clue. I had no clue. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very interesting. You learn. Listen, I love learning stuff, you guys. You guys know that. I learn every day. The more I can learn, the better I feel about what I'm doing. So,
amen. Same here.
Have you ever heard of ETA? Well, when I say what I'm going to say, it's going to sound dumb, but being in the medical field as a medic and a firefighter, ETA stands for estimated time of arrival. That is all that I know that means, so that you know, Michelle.
Same here.
That's it. Basque people settled here. So there must be a thing with this. I've never heard of this before. That's crazy. Welcome, Lucy. Good to see you. Brian, Todd, thank you all for joining us. I appreciate you guys so very much tonight for being here. Interesting. Good stuff. I'll be looking into the Basque communities and see who all we know that's involved.
That was kind of funny. So the detective asks a really good question here. So she just kind of explains, you know, you may be one of the people who was with Zaina and Ethan. She says their name wrong. In the early morning hours. I'll just let you speak for a moment. Tell me about that. Really good way to start this interview off. And the subject says, okay, yeah, I was with him. We were at the Sigma Chi party. Here's the analysis. Okay, yeah. May have been in response to him being one of the last ones to see Xana and Ethan. I was with him. I am pretty sure he says him. I'm like 99% sure. I don't think he says them. Okay. So this is an indication with the pronoun I that he's psychologically placing himself there fully into the statement regarding the time and place. I was with him. This is what we like to see. We see an interesting pronoun choice here with him. We assume that this is Ethan by choosing him. It's noted that he doesn't say then. It appears he and Ethan were together at this point, which doesn't include Xana. I was with him. If that is the intended complete sentence, there's a breath after these words. I was with him, breath. We were at the Sigma Chi party. Then I and Ethan are separated with, which the word with denotes distancing. It's kind of a weird sentence there. I with him. Okay. Also, by employing I was with him, there is a lack of acknowledgement of Xana here, which may indicate psychological distancing with Xana. The detective had mentioned both Ethan and Xana. However, she mispronounced Xana and said Zaina. So this could be why. Just noting possibilities here. A note on social introduction. The detective already knows who Ethan and Xana is as she's asking about his experience regarding the early morning hours before their deaths. the detective has introduced Ethan and Xana into the statement. So that said, the subject does not explain the nature of his relationship with either victims right away, which are required for a complete social introduction. I was with my friends Ethan and Xana. We would like to see this. We want to know the linguistic disposition that the subject has towards each victim. We were at the Sigma Chi party. We denotes closeness and unity, and we are interpreting this as subject and Ethan at this point. Why? I was with him. We were at the Sigma Chi party, but he may be internally including others here, specifically Xana, but we don't interpret. We do notice there's a here, which is a pause, which indicates sensitivity. And the Sigma Chi party is the location.
All right, I'm going to stop it there. And let's talk a little bit about where we're at with this now, Travis. What do we talk about here so far?
I mean, I think I pretty much, grabbed everything out of there.
Okay.
Was there anything that you had questions with? Or
No. I just wanted to make sure I'm not getting too far ahead for you to be able to want to explain anything. But if you've done it already, we're good. We can keep going.
Yeah, I think so, man.
Okay. Sounds good. And again, if anybody has any questions, we're going to get to a point where I'm going to start dropping questions. Make sure, if you can remember, please, it's easier for me. That way I don't miss your questions because they're all important to me. Put a Q, capital Q in front of it if it's a question. Welcome, Teehee. And that way I can see it and not miss it, guys. So thank you for being here again. And once we get to that point, I'll go ahead and open that up. On we go.
Okay. Detective says just that. Okay. Subject. It ended at 1, and we went back down to redacted, unfortunately. So we do deal with redactions on this video as well.
One thing I'm going to say, Lord have mercy. The first one was bad enough, but the second interview with him, the redactions in the second interview are unbelievable. I mean, I'm talking 5, 6, 7, 8 minute redacting times, guys. It's insane. And it's always around, at least in my opinion, it seems to be always around when they get to a sensitive point or something that's going to be important. Every time it shuts it down. And then they come back. We have no idea what the hell they talked about. It's so frustrating. It truly is.
It's concerning because, like, for example, at one point in the new one, or in the second one with Lake, excuse me, he's asked about Peter dating anyone else in the house.
Yeah.
And they redact it.
They completely redact the whole part of that conversation. You are correct, sir. And that blew my mind. That's really highly important, I think. Yes.
It's shady.
Absolutely. I guess I can answer this question real quick. Scully's in the house, gang. Are they avoiding questions that would trigger the person being interviewed to get defensive? I could. I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. Any thoughts on that, Travis?
Look, if put yourself in their shoes. One, you would want the investigators to find the person or people who killed your friend.
Yes.
You would understand. There would be an understanding. You're going to look at me because I was one of the last ones to be there. Ask away. I'm eager to clear my name.
Yep.
I'm eager to make it so you can move on from me and move on. And Peter talks about that with, like, missing children cases. That should be the psychology of a parent. Go ahead, hurry and look at me. Answer anything. Ask me anything. I'll answer anything so you can move on. In fact, he recommends parents take a lie detector test. Just hurry and take a lie detector test so they can just move on from you and actually find your child. So it's the same idea. So if they're concerned about them getting defensive, then they should be concerned that they're a suspect.
Agreed.
So no, there should not be concern about that because they would not expect them to be defensive.
Yeah. See, good point. Very good point. Thank you, sir. I hope that answers your question, Scully, and it is a great answer in my opinion. On we go.
Yes. Analysis. Indicates another pause, indicating sensitivity. It ended at 1. What about it ended at 1? Was it a scheduled party? Was it an official time? If not, this is peculiar. The detective is trying to understand the subject's experience with Ethan and Xana that night. And she asked a great question. Tell me about that. This is the subject going back into the free editing process all on his own. There is no contamination here so far. When the party ended is not relevant if they left early, changed locations, continue to visit, or party privately. Real quick, let me make sure. All right, we're good. We don't interpret, but it appears that the subject is intending to say that it ended at 1, and after it ended, the subject says, and we went back down to blank. The subject has not made it clear exactly who is we at this point. The lack of clarity here is curious. It brings the question to the mind. Why is he not being clear about this? The subject, the location he, quote, went back down to is redacted, unfortunately. Back down indicates the subject and Ethan, or we, had been there before, possibly the subject's place. We don't know. Down may indicate the subject views the other place as lower elevation, or perhaps it is the south of the lodge, to the south of the lodge, or it could simply be how the subject perceives the location in reference to the lodge. Could just be a part of his speech of how he references places in general. Okay, let's get back to our interview here, the audio.
We were at the Sigma Chi party.
Okay.
It ended at 1 o'clock, and we went back down to my.
Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and listen to this.
And went down there to grab a couple things, and then we went back into the lodge, and Zen and Ethan.
Why would they redact that? I don't understand. It ended at 1 o'clock, and we went down to my redacted. My apartment, my car, my tree, my backyard. That's so strange the way they redact some of this stuff, in my opinion.
Well, yeah. I mean, it would just make sense if maybe it was his fraternity. Maybe they were trying to. Is that Sigma Chi?
Yeah, that's my guess. Is that it was his apartment, and within they call their little rooms that they have because they're all separate and they all charge them. They call them all apartments. So I'm guessing that's what he was saying to my apartment within Sigma Chi. So again, there's no reason to redact that. I don't understand that at all. It's weird because he talks about them being there after the fact. Am I wrong?
Yes, it's fishy, man. I don't know. It's very fishy, and I'm past the point of being annoyed by him. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, it is beyond annoying. I agree with you on that. I hate to say this, but unfortunately, welcome to the club because now you see what we've gone through for going on 4 years now. It's insane. It really is. Your wife knows. She does.
Yeah, she does.
I feel for her because it's been rough. It has. But again, moving on. Or did you have anything to add to this before we go forward, or are you good still?
No, we're good, man.
Okay,
thank you.
On we go.
And we're in the lodge with my girlfriend and I, and that's the last time I saw them. They said they were going to come with us, but nobody remembers them coming with us there. I've asked all of because we went to AGR, another fraternity right there, neighboring to us, and I asked them, and they don't remember them being there, so I'm pretty positive they weren't there.
They were.
All right. This was very interesting words by Mr. Peter here. Okay. The subject. So this is all continuing on from Tell Me More About That. Okay. So he talks about this. He talks about this. The detective is just saying K, and he keeps going on. This is beautiful. And went down there to grab a couple things. I will try to get this here. Come on, don't do this to me. All right, that's fine. And went down there to grab a couple things. We have a repeat of this phrasing, which indicates sensitivity. Okay. So before, It ended at 1, and we went back down to and went down there. Okay.
Real quick, I should have done this earlier on. I'm sorry I didn't. If you could, because there's a lot of new people in here that probably haven't seen or watched you yet. Travis, can you explain what sensitivity means again, please?
Yeah. So sensitivity indications are basically soft spots. They're things that are important to the subject. There are things that it could be for bad or for good, right? Usually a parent talking about their children, talking about their marriage, talking about their significant other, it's going to be sensitive to them. Their relationship is sensitive to them. It could be because it's really, really a great relationship. It could be because it's a bad relationship. It could be, someone's car could be really sensitive to them. If it's, for me, I'm not super connected to my car. My car is just a car, whatever. I'm not big into that. Other people, their car is everything to them. It could be a specific time, it could be an embarrassing moment. It could be a moment of high emotions, of sadness, of anger. It could be a specific name, so sensitivity is just something that is in some way, shape, or form important to the subject. Okay. So sensitivity does not specify whether it is for nefarious reasons, for good reasons. We look for why that sensitivity is there. But the sensitivity, exploring sensitivity, we all have that. We all are sensitive to certain things. We are all insensitive to certain things. If I showed Dago pictures of a random family, a mom, dad, and a bunch of kids, he's never seen them. That's not going to strike anything for him. If I showed him a picture of his family, there would be emotions connected to that, memories connected to that. And so if I showed him a random picture of a random family and I went, talk to me about what you're seeing, he'd probably just be like, I'm seeing a man and a woman, right? Like there would be no sensitivity indications. If I showed you a picture of maybe someone who had crossed you in the past, someone who is, had done something wrong to you in the past, the moment you start talking about it, there's very likely going to be words that come out of your mouth that indicate there's some emotion there. So that's sensitivity. Hopefully that explains it.
Yes, thank you. Again, this is one of the main things that I truly do like about you, sir, is how you explain things in depth to the point that people can understand it. I really appreciate that very much so. So there you go, guys. For anybody that may have had questions about what sensitivity means within this situation, that's it, 100%. And great explanation once again. Thank you. On we go. On we go.
That's what I mean by a repeat of this phrasing. There's a drop pronoun the second time. There's no we or I or they or he or she. Right here. We do not know for sure who went down there to, quote, grab a couple things. This may be an indication of psychological distancing from that location. We also have a change in language. We went back down to and then went down there. The redaction makes this very difficult to understand the reason for the change of the language. Was there a third location? This is not clear. Okay, so if you're confused right now, look, it ended at 1 and we went back down to my blank and went down there to grab a couple things. All right. So this change of language went back down to my blank and then went down there. We want to understand why that change of language happened. It's unknown. To grab a couple things. The subject now explains why they went wherever it was that they went, which is a sensitivity indication that the subject felt the need to explain to the detective why he went to wherever it was. This suggests that the subject was preempting a question. Why did you go over to blank? His reason for going there is to grab a couple things. The subject doesn't offer to explain what those things were. So this results in an explanation that lacks information. This is peculiar and brings attention to the question of what are those things and why is this sensitive to the subject? I'm just going to tell you, this is going to be something by the end of this that's going to be really important.
Real quick, Dog Mom asked a question that I think is kind of
Yeah.
important here.
Yeah.
Says, can I ask a question? Does the fact that he is supposed to be, allegedly, we said, to be best friends with Ethan and he displays no emotion from his loss, is that something that you consider within your analysis? And I think I know the answer, but I'll go ahead and let you answer.
Yes, that is very much. I'm looking for that. I'm coming from an assumption that this Peter is innocent and a close friend with Ethan.
Yeah.
And during this analysis, I mean, when he talks about Ethan, I am paying very close attention, and I want him to talk about. I'm wanting to hear the quality of the relationship. Okay, and so obviously we can't see emotion, right? I can't see the emotions of Dago. I can do the best I can to read his face,
Right.
right? I can do the best I can to understand his tone, and but my bread and butter of my training is the words that are used, right? And the words that are
Yes.
used are connected to emotion, and that is the sensitivity indications. And so in this statement, I see no no clarification. He does not speak to the quality of the relationship with Ethan, and
Yeah.
and that's kind of a bad way of saying it, because what's not said is so important. And so even though he doesn't verbalize it, he is communicating it by not saying it, if that makes sense, right?
I agree.
If I had, if I, see Dago at the store with my wife, and I just shake his hand and he introduces me to his wife, and I just don't even mention my wife, right? What is that saying?
Yeah.
It's disrespectful to her, right?
Absolutely.
And so, well, I didn't do anything. What do you mean it's disrespectful? Well, doing nothing can be disrespectful.
I mean, it would take me to the point to say that he doesn't think much of his wife to not even introduce her to myself. There's no respect level there in that.
Exactly.
That's kind of the thing I would draw from that. That's just an opinion, but that's how
Right.
this works. I agree.
Right. And it could be because 5 seconds ago we were just fighting. So it's not that we have like a bad long-term relationship. It's just in that moment there was frustration. There was, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And the reason I use that is because social introductions are like the tip of the spear when it comes to understanding the psychological reality
Right.
of the subject, their perspective of their relationship. And forgive me if a lot of people have heard this, but I think it's really important. Peter Hyatt analyzed a statement where he concluded that the subject was not married, and according to the statement, well, he had colleagues or a colleague or something. I can't remember who it was, but they were like, they corrected him. Peter, no, he was married. We can pull up his
Yeah.
marriage certificate.
Right. Right.
You don't understand this fact. You got this thing wrong in the analysis. And he stood on it. And he's like, no, 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 no. I understand the psychological reality. In this man's mind, he's not married.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And
Yes.
so that's so insightful as to understanding the relationship. Thank you, Dog Mom.
Yes. Thank you very much, Dogman. God bless, hon. Very much appreciated.
And so how he views Ethan, yeah, the detectives are giving this to him. The detective, oh yeah, you're good friends with him. I don't care about that. I want to hear him talk about it. And he does not introduce Ethan. Okay, he does not say the words, my friend Ethan. He does not say it one time. And so it's like the analogy, someone said great analogy, and thank you for that. But it's the same exact thing. Peter, through this interview, quote unquote, is sitting there with Ethan right next to him, and he does not introduce Ethan. He does not share with the detective his relationship with Ethan. My friend Ethan. He does not say those words. And that right there, it's what he's not saying that's so concerning. So yes, that does indicate to us it's so insightful as to his emotional feeling when it comes to Ethan.
That's big. That's huge to me. I agree with you because, saying even saying his name. Listen, I'm just going to use this as an example, and I'm not trying to get anybody to boohoo with me, okay? A lot of people that have been with me for years know my best friend Angie passed away years ago, okay? I was friends with her for 41 years. She was friends with my wife as well. She was like my sister. When I talk about her, it wasn't violent. Well, it was, but it wasn't. She had cancer, sadly, like everybody, So,
I'm sorry, man.
I had to sit for a year and watch her deteriorate, all this. So anyway, the point is I'm trying to make. When I bring her name up, if you guys notice when I talk about her, my voice gets shaky, okay? Because she was that close to my heart, and we were family. So thinking about her and talking about her immediately draws an emotional response from my soul, per se, for instance, okay?
Yes.
This guy says Ethan's name many times. And see, here's the thing. When I say Angie's name, I relate to her as in my best friend Angie, my sister.
I noticed it immediately.
Okay, that's the point I'm making here. What he doesn't do is that. He doesn't say my best friend, my brother, bingo. Thank you. So that's the point I'm trying to make. Absolutely.
100%.
His
and
voice
you can't
doesn't
look
stick.
past it. And
No.
once you marinate on this, and once you really think about it, you pay attention to your own language, pay attention to your friends, pay attention to your family, and listen to how they introduce people. It is so natural.
Yeah.
We just do it. And to not do it is so indicative. There is so much to glean from that. It is not something we should just gloss over.
Very good point, sir. I agree with you fully, because I noticed that now in a lot of these interviews and this and that if you're not, there's the voices don't even get shaky. They're just talking to him like they're talking about a football game that just happened. It's no big deal. I don't understand it. Okay, which in turn is why I have these suspicions that I have over some of these interviews. Truly, guys. So, absolutely, very important.
He says my girlfriend right here. He says my girlfriend. When he references whoever that was. Now, he doesn't say the name, which that's not good.
No.
Right? So
very, very not personal. Yes.
Some people might say, well, this might be his form of speech. Well, we look at the context of the whole statement, and I can point to you. He actually uses what we're talking about very similarly here with my girlfriend. So there's at least somewhat of an internal context, right?
Sure.
This is something Peter says is like he'll go in front of a whole department of 150, detectives and troopers and sergeants and say, I want you to define the word boy and submit it to me. And he'll read them all off. And it goes from baby, in the crib to 21-year-old Afghanistan soldier,
Right. Yeah. That's wild.
A U.S. soldier in Afghanistan, I should say. So we all have an internal dictionary, right? And so that's what people will really, defense in their, with respect to them, I should say. It's a good thing to point out is, wait, but what's their parts of speech? Okay, well, that's great. So let's look at the whole context of the interview. And that's something just to keep in mind, as I go through this, as we go through this. And anyway, you get what I'm saying.
Yes, sir. 100%. Again, grateful for the explanation in depth like that, because it means it's important to fully and completely explain these things for people to get it. For me, myself, to get it as well, I think, to understand the full depth of this. So thank you again.
The thing is we all kind of get these feelings. We hear someone talk and it's like, there's something off, but we can't really pinpoint it a lot of the time. It's just an intuitive thing.
Yeah.
And statement analysis, I feel like, fills a lot of those blanks. It's like, no, here is the science behind that. That's why you're not getting a good feeling.
Yeah. And I want to point something out. This is a very good statement, a very, very important statement to understand too, folks. Liz Bear says also, it's probably not a popular thought, and I understand. We do need to be honest about because we don't know. How did Ethan treat his own friends and his 100%. Family? Okay. That's super 100%. Important.
Yes. We don't know. He can't speak for himself.
That's right. And that's not victim bashing. So don't worry about that, folks. It's a question that we are asking legitimately. How did Ethan treat his family, his friends, and his people in his life? That's very important to this, in my opinion.
Exactly. And just because one person says this is true about Ethan, that doesn't make it true. That tells us their own perspective of Ethan.
Yes.
We don't know, if we had an awesome, video of Ethan and him getting interviewed, we could really glean a lot, and that would really help us a ton. But yeah, it's a great point that I'm sorry, I can't remember who said that, but that's a great point.
It was I just had it and I lost it, but it is. As soon as I saw that, I had to throw that up there because that's very important, folks, truly and honestly, if you think about it. Where did it go?
The truth is Ethan may have done something horrible to someone.
Yeah.
One of these girls may have done something. Maybe the victim had done something and crossed someone really, really bad. And that's not justification for the murder, but it's just calling a spade a spade. We don't know.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. Absolutely. Liz Bear said it. Thank you. Thank you, Liz.
Yeah.
Very, very important, guys. Again, to keep that in mind. Love Tina, welcome. Good to see you. Microdot, welcome as well. You guys, great points. I love that the community is interacting like this too, because stuff is very important. So on we go.
Love it. Yeah.
Yes, very much so. Very much appreciate it.
And then is an indication of passage of time, which means there's missing information. We went back into the lodge, only allowing the subject to guide via his words. This would mean the subject and Ethan. Also, there's another back, which indicates that the subject was basically at place A, not sure where that was, then place B, the lodge, then went back to place A, and now back to place B. All right. He's using back twice. We also have a change of language. At first, it was the Sigma Chi party, and then it changed to the lodge. This is either one, because the party had ended, or two, he grabbed a couple things. All right. We're going to keep moving on here. I put this in here so that we can not lose track of the statement. So this is a snippet of the same exact statement up here. All right. So now we're going to focus on these words. We are confronted with surprising words here. And Zan and Ethan were in the lodge with my girlfriend and I. We were understanding if we interpreted that based on his words, and then me and Ethan went back into the.
Another great statement. Love and Other Habits. Thank you. This is a fact, folks, and we've seen this throughout this entire case. As I've mentioned, at one point it was taboo to even speak about Dylan and Bethany. Okay, you guys remember back in the day we couldn't even do that, and then at some point it finally changed. But hold on 1 minute, 1 second. You're right.
You're good. Yeah, this is an amazing point. And this is actually a really good point in statement analysis. Is anytime someone close to us has moved on, has passed away, we do hold them. Oftentimes, it's just natural for us to hold them in an angelic view. To speak ill of the dead, is just something that we avoid, even if there was reasons to be frustrated. It's not proper. It's a sign of possible disrespect, and it needs to be treated very tenderly and carefully. And we usually just naturally do that. We may speak about someone who passed away very carefully in the negative, right? So it's not to say that it can't happen or it shouldn't happen, but on the flip side, yeah, we hear about these young college students who've been all murdered, and they were perfect. They were saints. They were angels. And that's it. End of story. So we have to look at things realistically. We don't know their lives. We weren't there. We have no idea what kind of lives they led. And so this is kind of contamination. This is the idea of contamination and having presuppositions in our mind that is just really important to just clean off and clear off and just come at things objectively, open to anything.
Yeah, exactly. That is a absolute fact. Very good point too. Again, Love and Other Habits. Thank you for that. That's something that we've seen a lot of. Like I said, in the beginning of this, it was taboo to speak about certain things. And because of I was still fairly new to the platform when this came out and certain things and how to do stuff and so on and so forth. Luckily, I've gotten used to it, you know, but that's what people do. You have to be realistic. We have to realize that asking questions is not victim shaming.
No.
It's not, and it needs to be done, folks. To understand these things, you have to do these things. Sadly, and like Travis just kind of explained, like there's 4 victims here. We know that, okay? But they're people. They're human beings. People make mistakes.
Yes.
People do things. It is what it is. It doesn't mean that they were perfect angels and didn't have things going on in their lives. That's why I've always said we need to know what was going on in their lives for the past year, in my opinion, to understand some of this possibly. That doesn't mean you're doing something wrong because you're asking questions. So remember, that's a very important thing. I agree with that. So,
well, and this just reminds me of the new interview. I call it the new because it's new to me.
Yeah,
but the second interview of Peter, it was uncovered that, well, at least they talked about how Peter and Ethan. So Peter had dated Xana, and then became friends with Ethan, and then Ethan began dating Xana. Right? I mean, that could be a point of friction. In some circles, you don't do that. In some circles, some relationships, that is a sign of really big disrespect. Like, hey, this was someone that I loved. I talked to you about them. It was really hard on me. And now you're dating them. Yeah. That can bring up a lot of emotions. And who knows how that went down. But based on Peter, that is at least factually true, that he broke up with Xana, or however that happened, and then became friends with Ethan. And then Ethan began dating Xana. And there was some sensitivity there that I noticed, and I'm trying to find it. But I believe he says that, man, it was just like it was really no big deal to me at all. There was some kind of persuasion there. I'd have to find it,
but if I remember right, you are correct. It was unwanted knowledge that came forward. Like he gave, if I'm correct on this, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but when it was brought up, they didn't tell him, how did that make you feel, or what did you feel? Like he just came out with it right away. That bothered me because I've seen people, we know that this is a fact too, Travis. You can say something to somebody, well, that didn't bother me. Well, okay. People say that all the time. And when in all reality, underneath that, they're screaming, to themselves. It truly did bother them. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
That is something that is a reality, folks. It does happen. I do it all the time. I'm fine. My moderators, they can read my face better than they can read my mouth. I'll just tell you right now. I can come on a panel and they're like, yeah, what's wrong, Dago? I'm like, oh, nothing, I'm fine. They know better, later on we talk about it, but that's what I'm saying. Like, people's faces, it tells their own story. So just saying that. Yeah,
well, he said fine. It didn't hurt. That's right. Thank you. Yes.
Yes, that's it right there. Good one.
Yeah, Karen. Okay, I found it. Thank you. Now I can search for the word hurt. I found it. I was friends with Ethan before he and Xana were started becoming a thing and dating, but I mean, it didn't hurt. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sure.
Yep. There you go. Like he's trying to drive that home to make sure they know that that's not a problem in his mind. Good point.
And it could be true. And that's the reason he's persuading it is like, I know that this looks bad, but for sure, like, but it could be the exact opposite. It could be, he's trying to conceal that it did hurt. And that would be motive. That would be motive.
Very good point, sir. Thank you for that. You guys are awesome.
One thing I want to circle back around to earlier, because I'm looking at the clock. There's no way we're going to get through all of this. So I'll just kind of give some people some good nuggets here. What he had just said right at the beginning of the statement is he says, we were at the Sigma Chi party. It ended at 1. We went back down, kind of weird things here, grab a couple things. Well, later he says, and Ethan and Xana came down to my apartment and they packed up all of their things.
Yeah, right.
They packed up all their things. That sounds like finality. That
Yes.
sounds like a breakup. That sounds like get all of your crap out of here. Or I did something really bad and I need to make sure all of their items are outside of my apartment. I have no evidence of Ethan or Xana being in my apartment. And
Very good
another
point.
thing he says in the second interview, he specifies Peter never went to his apartment, never stayed in his apartment. He said he only stayed in his Ethan only stayed in his own apartment about 4 days. Other than that, it was at Xana's. And he says he never passed out at Sigma Chi. And if he did, he would always be walked home. And then he clarified that would be at Xana's. So the couple things, it went from grab a couple things to packed up all their things. Very fascinating.
And then, see, something else with that statement too. If I was the detective, the first thing I would have said was, like what? And they did that to some extreme, but not enough, in my opinion. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Well, the second time around, I think did strike something, and she went, talk to me about what those things were. Now, this is another fascinating thing, is he actually doesn't say. He insinuates what those things were, but he says two things. He said they had a couple beers. The question is, what did they grab? He said they had a couple beers. That could easily mean that they drank a couple beers that night.
Right.
So that's not clear. And oftentimes the deceptive will use the truth to be deceptive. 80% of deception is omitting. And so what did they grab? Well, they had a couple beers. Well, that is true, but you're not answering the question, right? Number two is he said Ethan may have grabbed his formal coat. That's not
exactly
for sure.
Right.
So you went from packed up all their things to loose and non-committal two things, which were they had a couple beers and he may have grabbed his formal coat. Very strange. Very strange. And that's the kind of the sensitivity that we're talking about. That is very sensitive to him. Hey, they grabbed this. They had this in my apartment. They had this. What's the problem with just listing off? You said packed up all their things, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Good point.
So more on this, I'll just say that.
Yeah.
And I would say the two juicy nuggets that was discovered in this interview was he says here at the beginning of the interview, we went back into the lodge and Zan and Ethan were in the lodge with my girlfriend and that's the last time I saw them. They said they were going to come with us, but nobody remembers them coming with us. Okay. They said they were going to come with us. At the end of the interview, okay, the detective asked, where did they say they were going to go? Or no, did they say where they were going to? Sorry, let me say that again. The detective asked, okay, did they say where they were going to? Subject, they didn't.
Right.
They did.
Very good point. Very good point.
So even within the context, he's fibbing there. He's lying. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. And that's a good point to make. I'm grateful that you did. And which he says he was admitting to underage drinking, bodies that affect the statement. And that's a question she's asking.
Well, he was admitting to underage drinking bodies.
Very, very interesting.
Now, I'm not understanding the second half of that. Can you help me with that, Dega? Bodies that affect.
He was admitting to underage drinking, and then it says bodies that affect the statement. Does that affect the statement? Oh, okay. That's what she's saying. I see.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I see. Well, what's interesting is with deceptive, we see a pattern with deceptive people. They will admit to small things. And it's actually a really clever way of being deceptive. They'll admit to small things, which gives this false sense of, oh, this is an honest person. They'll call it they'll call a spade, you know? But
absolutely.
The problem, and it might be true, but it also might be really clever deception to get the investigator off of the kind of to make them think that they're an honest person, they're not the bad guy, that kind of thing. Now, one thing about that is, just to echo that, is he says, even if I get an MIC, I don't give a shit. Minor intoxication, minor consumption, right?
Yes,
I had to look that up. Even if I get an MIC, I don't give a shit. So, I wrote that down because it's like, oh, I'm happy. I don't give a shit about that, because I got bigger fish to fry. I got a lot of other things to worry about. So, yeah, I mean, that's something we look for, Now, another thing, I'm sorry, this just reminds me of it. And I was thinking about this as I was preparing, is he also talked about atheism, and he talked about that kind of stuff. And this is
wild.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, and Peter, and I mean, I'm a Christian. I believe in this stuff, so it's going to perk my ears. But Peter would talk about in another a form of deception is what's called the sermon. It's sermonizing, and you see that a lot in thieves. So, hey, did you take this? Oh, I would never take that. Stealing's so wrong. I mean, the Bible says stealing's wrong. I can't stand it when thieves do this, and they give this big sermon. And it is actually a really bad sign that they are a thief, and they're really familiar with this whole sermon because they've been told it. And you know what I mean? It's leakage of other aspects of that.
Absolutely.
Rather than, no, I didn't steal it. No, I didn't take it,
Yeah. Yes. Very interesting point, especially to bring in the religious point that he brought. I was kind of held back on that one. I was like, whoa, where did that even come from? When he asked him, I think that was it in this one or the Detective Lake one, where he said, who do you see this guy as being? And he goes into this whole thing about it.
Yes.
He's a drug dealer. He's this, he's that. I'm like, where did all this come from, dude? Come on. And are you speaking on things already, is what my first question was. Is that why you're saying this? Because that was a very, I've heard that question asked in other interviews, but I've never heard anybody give an answer like that, Travis, ever. It was, especially with the religious side to it.
I know. And to me, it's telling, I think it's telling. I think that this could very well, I'm not going to conclude it, but it's very well likely a diversion. Trying to get the pressure and the spotlight off of him, but there is some sermonizing there. And he has, I mean, we kind of talked about this earlier. Like, I don't know. I wasn't there. Like, what do you want from me? Like, no, he is giving these other details. One other thing to kind of echo that, Dago, is he says him. He says him. He's sure that it's one guy. He says him.
Very good point.
Numerous times, that to me is leakage, that he knows more than what he's saying. So
I agree with you. And thank you for stating that, because that's something I've said myself and wondered, they're being very specific in certain things that they don't have to be. That's important to notice too, guys. So that's a good point. I did notice it was asked in here. I don't know how far through the second interview you've gotten, but I'm kind of curious myself. One of the things that stood out in that interview, Travis, was huge to me, is when he talks about I can't remember how Lake asked him, but he said something about, has there ever been do you know of any issues between Xana and Ethan? And he says, only what I told you. And that was when he had explained how Ethan stated it's hard to date Xana. Okay.
Yes.
Whoa. That one, stopped me right where I was at. And I went back over that a couple times and I said, all right. But then he says, I'm not going to lie to you, bro. That turned me off right there. I was shut down completely. And I said, that is a big deal for me. Okay. I think everybody wants your opinion on what you think about that situation.
I think you nailed it, man. Honestly, when you talked about that, I think I was just popping in real quick as I was writing up a report. And I was just saying hi, and I heard you riff on that. And I'm like, that's a really good point. And I wrote the whole statement down. The statement is fascinating. He says, I'm not even going to lie to you. I grabbed him aside, took him outside. I then like, okay, let's go have a beer and talk about it. And we went and talked about it. So that's like 3 times he says, I grabbed him aside, took him outside. We went and talked about it. You know, there is a lot of sensitivity, and it does appear a lot of tension. And I think you nailed it, man. It's like, let's take this outside. I mean, when guys say that to each other, bro, it's on.
Yes, it's either that or you're taking your butt, because I've been on both sides of that, okay? As I stated when I brought that up, I said, this is one of 2 things, in my opinion, folks. It's either the guy is taking his buddy outside to cool him off from something else, or he's taking him out there because he has a problem with him and he wants to deal with this right now, here and now. Either way, I've been both sides of the fence on that. So whatever Pete was saying made no sense based on that statement, in my opinion. I'm sorry. He was either taking Ethan outside to cool him down from a situation that was going on inside, in my opinion, or Ethan had a problem with Pete that Pete wasn't telling us about, and that's how it was dealt with at that point, because we don't know what really happened. All we know is what he's telling us, and there's the problem.
Yes.
So that's a big one.
But his mouth is running, and his mouth has told us there is a lot of problems here. And he says he kind of just elaborated on, because he interrupts himself a lot here. This is indications of a lot of internal stress and tension within Peter as he's relating this. So on one hand, he's trying to act like this is just my buddy, and we just talked about this little concern he had.
Yeah.
But his indications are saying there is a lot of stress as he's conveying this, which that is indications of deception. And he kind of just elaborated on, because at first he said, it's hard dating Xana at first, right?
Yeah.
Well, what did he then say? We're looking for that. I don't think he ever clarifies that. He says, I was like, what do you mean? And then we kind of went outside. Kind of.
What does that mean? Kind of. Thank you. Good point right there, because you either went outside or you didn't go outside. Not kind of. You can. That's it. Yep. Thank you.
Yep. And talked about it. So he says, talk about it. Okay, those words 3 times.
Thank you, Witchy.
And then he told me, so there's 4, about how like she is always like surrounded by dudes because of her personality. And he's, I guess, he was a and I didn't finish. Oh no, I did. Jealous individual, which I didn't catch that. But yeah, it was just short. We were outside for a short time. He says it twice. And then we went back inside. Well, when you're trying so hard to tell me this is a short time, I got to wonder, was it the opposite?
And that, I fully agree with you, because I remember thinking self-projection is a thing that I see happening in a lot of these interviews, in my opinion, where people are projecting what is that truly going on within themselves or something they did. Okay. So what really happened that night? Was it something that he said or did that Ethan was finally sick of? Like maybe, possibly. Okay. These are all just opinions, folks. And Ethan's like, bro, why are you always hanging around my girl? Why are you always hanging all over her? Why is this one? Dude, I'm sick of this. You know, if he's jealous, he's jealous. If he's not, he's not. But is that what provoked this interaction? Is that really what happened? It makes me wonder, because we know they have history together. Okay. And like we talked about earlier, maybe he didn't get over Xana that easy as he says he did. And makes you wonder, is all I'm saying.
It absolutely makes you wonder. And I think based on what we have, where's the drama? But if this is a crime of passion, which it appears to be a crime of passion,
it could be, yeah.
It appears to be. Where was that passion from? Let's look back at the last 24 hours. Well, we got a close friend of Ethan telling us we had to go outside and hash something out here. And I'm really stressful talking about this right now. I'm stumbling over my words. I'm not finishing my sentences. I'm trying to make this sound like it was no big deal, but boy, I'm making it really obvious that this is really stressful for me to talk about. And I mean, Occam's razor, the simplest answer is usually the
Yep.
true one. We gotta
Hey,
look for it.
100%, dude. 100%. Mama Bear says, thank you for being here, Travis. We truly appreciate you and your hard work. I don't know if you remember, but Mama Bear is my co-host and channel manager. She doesn't get to come
Awesome.
in here often, but she's
Yeah, I
here.
don't think
Thank you,
I've
Mama
met her,
Bear.
but I remember you talking to me about her. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mother Bear.
yeah. But no, that's a huge point. Again, it makes you wonder, folks, like, because we don't know. The only person that knows the real truth is Pete himself, period.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yeah.
We know what he's telling us, and
Mhm.
it's obvious that he's been deceptive and being deceptive. So if you're
Mhm.
deceptive with one thing, you can be deceptive with multiple things. So
Yep. Yep. And there's also just a classic indication of a passage of time right after he says, this is so crazy. I've seen this quite a bit with Bethany and Dylan and Peter
uh-huh.
now. He says, it was just short. We were outside for a short time, and then we went back inside. And then is a huge indication of a passage of time. Missing
Makes perfect.
information.
It makes perfect sense. Real quick, Arian the vegetarian.
Here's my
Thank you
baby.
so much. Oh, well, thank you. I forgot her name.
Yeah, it's my
For
wife.
Okay, got you. Good. I remembered the picture, but the name is where I got confused. I'm so sorry. Thank you for watching us and allowing your husband to join us. And for the super chat, God bless on for Dago being such a genuine friend, the biggest sweetheart on YouTube. Not sure if you went over this, but Joe Lake saying when we take him to trial was infuriating, nauseating, and unsurprising all at the same time. I 100% agree with you, dear. 100%. And thank you again so very much. Yeah, that's a huge problem too. I agree with you. I think a lot of us reacted the same way to that statement too. Um,
Yes.
very, very infuriating. Truly and
He didn't
honestly.
see this guy as a suspect at all. At all. Zero.
That's so weird to me. I just don't understand it that the last person to be seen, he should have been number 1 or 2 on the list, in my opinion. Okay? If the last person to Jack Showalter, we know because he was with the 2 girls, Maddie and Kaylee. This guy was with the other 2 victims. Okay? It from what we know, very well should have been right up there with Jack Showalter when they looked into this, and he was not. That's the weirdest thing to me, truly and honestly. So,
I mean,
huge point.
isn't that pretty much typical? Like, that's just like a rule of thumb. Like, you have someone who's murdered, you look at the people who were last with them.
Absolutely. Yeah. 1 NYPD police officer said the same thing. He goes, absolutely, 100%. That's first person you'd look at, last person they look
That's
at.
step one. And not only that, but within just a few hours of looking at Peter, I mean, me personally, I found 2 huge lies that Peter told the detective and the trooper. I mean, 2 huge lies. One was the one I had mentioned before,
Yes.
and the other one was related to the photos on his phone. At
Let's talk
first,
about that real quick.
yeah, at first he says, "I look." This is fascinating, Dago. So at first he says, "I looked past tense. I looked through my camera and my snapshot memories, and present tense. I don't have anything. Anything." He says it twice after formal, right? Which formal was the party before, right?
Right.
Later, at the very end of the interview, the detective circled back around and asked him about the photos. And he says, "I can look again and send you what I have from that night." Which, what does that indicate?
I didn't even catch that, Travis, until you just said that. Now I remember that. Wow. That's a huge lie.
It's a huge lie. And I again, I I'm just putting the pieces together. My opinion is he, by the beginning of the interview, he was stressed, he was concerned he was a suspect. By the end, his deception had worked. He was definitely getting the vibes that they were not concerned about him. And so now that you're not concerned about me, I'll look again and I'll send you what I have.
He relaxed and forgot. Yep.
Yes.
Huge point. Huge point. Pete's date was his girlfriend, Sadie Buckeye, if I remember correctly, Witchy. That's his girlfriend. It's a woman he's married to right now, too. So I do believe that's who it was.
But
Which
he
I am
wouldn't say her
going.
name.
No, he never did say her name one time. We had to find that out ourselves. I will be forwarding her interview because there has to be an interview with her if they did one with him so that she
Has
could
to be.
reiterate his stuff, in my opinion. So, yeah.
Now, how much redactions are in it? That's another question.
That's probably like everything else. 90% of the interviews are interviewed. It's pathetic.
So can I riff on that though, real quick, Dave?
Please do. Please do.
That's so important, man. Just another piece of the context. Context I think of as soil, the soil to the plants, right?
Keep going. I'm going to step away. I can still hear you. Keep
good.
going. I just have
You're
to
good.
grab something.
Awesome. So the context of, okay, so we're getting indications here of Peter. There's some contention with Xana. There's history with Xana. In this statement, Peter talks about how long he knew Xana. He does not talk about how long he knew Peter for. There's clearly something going on here. There was a discussion. He's talked about. He's disparaged the relationship between Xana and Ethan in this interview, where he says Peter went to Xana's a lot of the nights just because he didn't want to walk that far. So it was a matter of convenience for Ethan. That's why he stayed with Xana. That's a disparagement to their relationship. There's a lot of things here when it comes to that. And to, oh, dang it. Now I forgot what I was going to say about that. Shoot. What was I going to mention in this
It'll come back. Take your
first one? What were we talking about just right before that, Dago?
Oh,
The
Lord.
camera roll? No,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
after that.
Oh, good Lord. I'm trying to remember. So many things going through my head. We went from that to disparaging the relationship. Pete's girlfriend.
Thank you. That's exactly where I was going with that.
Okay.
And so we have all these indications, and then Peter will not do a proper complete social introduction of his own girlfriend, which that shows disrespect to his own girlfriend, which that is more support for this tension and this issue of understanding the psychological reality of Peter. So let me contrast that. Let's say that Peter shows really good closeness with his girlfriend. Then that's a challenge to this idea that there was tension between Peter, Xana, and Ethan. If Peter was telling us, I love my girlfriend, I'm really close with her, I'm showing really good respect with her, and we are really close, then that would be a challenge to this whole idea. But we get the opposite, and it actually supports this whole idea. Did I cut out?
It's almost like he's hiding her from the situation, like
exactly.
keeping her away from that. And that's how I took it. Now that you bring that out, because I didn't notice that at first. So it's like he's purposely exempting her from the situation and hiding her away from the situation for whatever reason. That's why I wanted her interview so bad, because I want to hear if she lines up with what he says. Truly, that's important to me. And it should be to them too. Hi, Rach. Good to see you, dear. And don't worry about chatting. Great to have you here, hon. So yeah, that's a big point, I think, guys. Big point.
It is. It's really important that we do not have the full introduction for the girlfriend. It denotes psychological distancing. That's what we call it in the statement analysis. He's psychologically distant from the girlfriend at the time of the statement. It's not a good sign.
Did they even ask Travis? I can't even remember at this point. Did they even ask her name to him?
Yes.
They did. Okay.
It's redacted. Yes.
Got you. Okay. Well, that makes sense. But again, therefore, anytime he talks about her, it's not Sadie. It's not my girlfriend Sadie or my fiance or my soulmate, or any of that. He just says my girlfriend.
Yep. Exactly. That's all she is. So we don't even know her name. She doesn't even deserve a name in Peter's language.
Yeah.
In his psychological reality.
Very good point and very important, like I said. And I'm glad that has been talked about as well. And
this is why every word is critical. I know some people, you know, they can't get past that. It's like, oh my gosh, I've seen comments where it's like, I know you've analyzed every single word.
You have to.
And it's like, yeah, but you know, you're missing X, Y, and Z. And it's like, yeah, but this tells us exactly pretty much exactly how he feels about these people. And how is that not insightful?
One word can make all the difference in the world, folks. One word in an entire sentence can change everything, in my opinion. So,
and especially when we have redacted information, we don't have all the case facts. You know, we're just the public here. They've not disclosed everything to us. How much more important, you know?
Yes, very much so. I fully and truly agree. Truly and honestly. So, at this point, guys, if you have any specific questions, again, if you can, please throw a capital Q in front of it so I can see it, of course, because I'm old and my eyes suck. And I'll see if I can get these questions up here to Travis, and we can get that moving forward too. So, what was it in this interview, Travis? As we're waiting for that, in this interview, and thus far, I guess with the second one, as far as you've gotten, what is the biggest? Oh my goodness, what the hell is that situation? Have you seen or heard? I would ask you the biggest two, but I want the biggest one first.
Well, the biggest one, it's hard. That's hard, man. That's really hard. It's a tie. It's a tie between the two lies that I talked about.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, they shocked me. For some reason, I mean, the way he talks about Ethan, what he's not. You know, how I was so eager to hear, okay, how's he going to explain? I mean, the way I explain it is the detective put this up on a silver platter. I was, you know, it was explained to me that you were, you know, really good friends with Ethan.
Right.
And he says, yeah. And it just came across as cold. And then she's like, okay, well, tell me about that. And all he did was talk about how often they were around each other and that he was oftentimes in his apartment. And the only like quality is just hanging out. There was no we, there was no pronouns. And then he goes, it just doesn't make sense to me because of what type of guy Ethan wasn't. And that he didn't have any beef or anything. And for him to right away to connect Ethan with beef and what he wasn't, the type of guy he wasn't, was really shocking to me. You know, it was really shocking.
So the one point where he points out how I'm trying to remember how he said it. This was always something I was curious about too, and I questioned when he said it. I can't think exact words, but I'll put you in the context of it where he said, yeah, something about people don't mess with Ethan because he's a big dude. And then he kind of whispers off, he's a really big dude in the background or something like that. That was something I questioned too.
Yeah. He's like 6'4".
Yep.
He's a big dude.
Any thoughts on that?
And
if not, you know.
Well, I mean, I think it's interesting. Is that a tell of kind of pride of I brought him down? You know, like no one else was, but I did, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a very good point. Thank you. Never thought of it that way. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, he had thought about how big Ethan was, that's for sure, you know? But
almost like he was remembering.
The way
he comes, dude.
Yeah, well, and the way he talks about it is not like he was close with him. Like I don't know how to explain it.
I get it.
He doesn't like. Okay, one of my best friends died in high school, and he was a big boy. You know,
yeah,
he was a big boy. We would wrestle all the time. It was so hard to wrestle him. You know, he had an amazing physique.
Yeah.
He was so healthy. He was a swimmer. He was just buff, man. And I mean, he had an amazing physique, and he was such a lerp, and he was awkward. He wasn't always
Yeah, no, I got you.
he wasn't always the most coordinated, but I don't know, just the way he talks about him is not the way that I would talk about, Aaron is his name. Aaron.
I get it.
So I don't know.
No, it makes sense.
If he was the guy to take down Ethan, you would look for that statement and look at how he says it, right?
Like I said, if that was the case, it's almost like, in his mind, that was hard. He was a big dude. I can't believe I did that. Maybe I accomplished that. Blah blah blah. I get it. I fully get that. Yeah, it's a good point, possibly.
At the same time, though, he also says some interesting things. He says he doesn't like confrontation. And I'm like, okay, so he doesn't like confrontation. What would we like to hear from that? Because he's a peaceful guy. He was loving, right? He tried to use his words to de-escalate.
Yeah.
He didn't like to harm people. That kind of thing. Well, why does Peter say it? You ready? Because he likes his image.
Okay.
And like how he's viewed by other people.
Interesting.
So he was vain.
Yeah. That's what that says to me.
So it wasn't because of his values, like his values of his external reality.
He was more worried about what people thought about him, right?
He was selfish.
That's exactly what that says to me. Good catch. Wow.
He disparages Ethan and Xana in multiple ways. It's
shocking. He does. We did notice that he kind of talks away from them and down towards them in some aspects a lot, guys. It's not normal for your absolute best friend in the world and his girlfriend, and it makes you wonder, does it relate to that, you guys? Does it relate to the fact that Ethan was winning? Ethan got the girl. Ethan was with the girl that everybody wanted to be with based on a lot of the interviews we've heard. Did Pete ever get over that? All of that. It makes you wonder.
It makes you wonder. And now, I think he's a suspect. I'm not saying he's the one who did it. I'm not confident enough to say that. But again, is he someone who knew that it happened and didn't do anything? I don't know. But
guilty knowledge. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you asked me. Oh, go ahead.
Yes. No. I was just going to say that's how I feel too, Nana. He had no respect at all for Ethan. That's how I took it too.
I agree. I mean, that was my first conclusion, is that he had a poor relationship with Ethan. That was my first conclusion. And yeah, but Travis, the detective, said he, was good friends with him.
Right.
Everyone knows he was good friends with him. Yeah, but I let the subject guide me. And based on his psychological reality at the time of this statement, there was a poor relationship.
And that's going to play into something else I'm going to bring up here in a minute, but I'm going to let you go with what you were going to say first.
Yeah, sorry. Well, and this is this is my super long-winded answer of you asking me the difficult, what's your number one thing?
Yeah.
And I'm I guess
sorry.
I'm avoiding answering it directly because, man, I just don't know. I mean, the camera thing was just shocking to me. An indication that he may have deleted information, deleted photos, which, oh my gosh, that just makes my stomach churn.
Yep.
Disparaging Ethan and Xana, talking about their relationship is just a convenience for Ethan. But I would say the number one thing that I just couldn't get over was when the detective asks Peter to just let's circle back around and talk to me again real quick about the 13th, early in the morning. When do you think was the last time you saw Ethan and Xana? She says it wrong. And
yeah, multiple times.
The big question here, right? Ethan and Xana. I mean, that's, at least for me, I just feel much more murky about Ethan and Xana. and he says, Ethan and Xana, in the lodge, I'm almost positive. So he's not quite positive.
Right.
And he says, cause they went to my apartment after the lodge party ended to pack up all their things, and the lodge is the last place I saw them around 120, 125. And to me, it was just like, after everything, I'm just starting to really, like, I'm shining the flashlight into his mind and understanding how he thinks and how he views things. And for him to just break that sentence, to let out an exhale, and then just to say, for some reason, the lodge is the last place I saw them around 120, 125. After just talking about them being in his apartment, and he can't finish that sentence. To me, that right there, man, it was like
he had to stop and think and remind himself. But yeah, no, I got you. That's a good that's a good one. That is a good one, right? Wow. This is why I enjoy doing this with you, because you point to see, and you brought something up in there too that I had meant to ask you earlier. Yeah, Rach is right. That's a really good catch, dude. Really good one. Damn. But it reminded me of my other question. I wrote it and I forgot to ask you. So since you brought up the time thing again, this has always bothered me too, Travis, from the very beginning of when I first heard it. When was the last time you saw, or first, I think they asked him, what was Xana and Ethan wearing that night? Oh, he immediately, he snapped it off. I don't remember. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember.
He says, I'm sorry, by the way.
Yeah, he apologized for it. And we all know that it was the lodge was having the ESPN themed party that night. So, that's going to be any kind of sports. We saw Dylan was wearing the Phoenix Suns shirt, and Bethany had on a Tom Brady shirt. They were still wearing them that morning, so we know, and they were both there, so we know that's sports related, so on and so forth. And here's my problem with this, and I'm going to bring this to you to see what you think. And he could remember. Okay, this just blows my mind. He could remember between 1 and 125 exact minutes. Okay, down to the minute when they separated, but you can't remember if Ethan was wearing a Michael Jordan shirt or a Steelers jersey or something like that, which would be something I would think would imprint in my mind from that night, seeing what your best friend has on, even possibly talking about why he's wearing that or what Xana has on or any of that, okay? And no, he can't remember that, but he can repeatedly remember between 1 and 125.
120 and 125.
Or 120 and 125, I'm sorry.
Even more to your point.
That's huge to me, okay? That's a big deal to me and a big problem to me.
Yes, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. Yeah, I mean, that is, and so for me, I think it's the exact opposite. I think he knows what they're wearing, and I don't believe 120, 125. When you're so sure, and I mean, the statement I just said, I mean, that is so likely scripted that tells me that it's anything but 120, 125.
I'm right there with you, sir.
That's what he wants investigators to think. He had this planned, and he started saying too much, stopped himself once he said they packed up all their things. And I mean, absolutely. I was so eager as I was analyzing this. I'm like, oh, they uncovered there was a theme. Good job, detective. It's ESPN. Okay, do you remember them having any kind of sports apparel on? It's like, oh, now he's jogged his memory from 5 days ago. I really don't. I am sorry. And anytime in a statement where there's sorry, it might be indicative. It might be an indication of much deeper guilt than just not remembering it.
100%. Yes.
So, and then right after that, he says that about the camera roll, and he lies.
Yeah.
So, no, man, it bugs you for a reason. I mean, it very, very much bugs me.
I get it. Like I said, I've been learning a lot from listening to you and watching your analysis every one of them, and it's teaching me these things to catch now. When I listen like you listen now, and I try to
Yeah,
catch these
man.
things as it
I
goes
love
on.
it.
Truly,
Well, these are just principles that we can all apply. That's what I love about it. It's not
and
because I'm Travis, I can do it. It has nothing
right,
to do with me. It's
you
just
know, it's
principles that we
sad.
can all apply.
Absolutely, and what's sad about it is that you would think that detectives, at the very least, detectives, but any law enforcement would have this kind of a background training when they're interviewing people to be able to sit there and say those types of things. I mean, I'm not saying they all don't, but
Mhm.
from what I've seen, it doesn't look like they do at all in some aspects. If they do, they're not using it. I'll say that much. Um, that's crazy though. That's crazy to me.
And no, I mean, it's always boggled my brain. Why isn't this prevalent not only in law enforcement? Because if it was prevalent in law enforcement, it then you would think, okay, well, everyone in law enforcement knows this. Anyone who's watching law enforcement is a fan of law enforcement, is a fan of true crime and all this stuff. Then it would leak into the public, and the public would be a lot better about it. But this
Yeah.
kind of stuff is just not really known. And I have my own deeper conspiracy feelings about all of that. A lot of money could be made in deception. A
Yeah.
lot of leaders use deception, a lot of people. So the dumber the public, I hate to say it that way, but I'm just
No,
going to
I
be
get it
callous.
though.
The
The only way
dumber
you
the
can
public
say it.
is, the more people can make money. And I believe in demons, and I believe in I believe there's evil forces that use deception and
Yeah.
want people to not be able to ascertain the truth. And so there's a lot of forces that just don't want people to know the truth, and to be deceived. And so, yeah, I mean, with these law enforcement, I don't know, man. I mean, is this just they were really worn out? Were they stressed out? Was there external pressures from leaders that, hey, we're not going to explore these people. Our leads are going that way. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Don't even come to me with concerns about this person and that person, because I'm not going to believe you. Me and my wife were talking about this where, you know, Lake is sitting here talking, oh, we have like 1,000 people on this case. Well, man, have you ever heard of the term too many cooks in the kitchen?
Right. Which I'm glad you brought that up because he said word for word, we've already talked to over 1,000 people. No, you didn't. Why are you saying that to him? Because I know that at this point, you've not spoken to 1,000 people at this point. Okay, come on, and
Yeah.
that is again what I'm saying. That
Yeah.
the impression they were trying to make on Pete at this point is kind of over ridiculized in my opinion by saying that. Okay, not just that, but a few other things he did. It's
Mhm.
craziness, but it is
Yeah.
what it is, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
and anybody that has common sense, is going to catch something like that. Like, come on, dude, that was a bit much there, don't you think? And don't you think this guy? He's a smart kid, obviously, because he figured out how to get around certain things and deceive in certain ways, in my opinion. So he does have a brain that he's
Mhm.
using for this. So he
Mhm.
shouldn't have done that. I'm just going to say that. But
Yeah.
um,
Well, and he has some interesting questions. Peter does.
oh yeah, and
He
that's
asks
a
some.
big thing too. He's fishing through the whole thing, you guys. Like
What can you tell me? He
that.
asks. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
Wow.
sure you guys can't really tell me anything, but and then here comes Lake. Oh, no, we can tell you some stuff. What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on. I mean,
Who's
I get
interviewing the
building,
crew?
yeah, I get building rapport with somebody, but you took that to a whole other level there, sir. That was too much, and he was fishing through the whole thing. I did just create a new word, Rach. I know I shouldn't have said it, but I
Over
did it.
ridiculous. That's a great word. I love that.
I do that all the time. I just come up with nothing out of nowhere. It's called the
Love it.
ADHD. One of the big problems I have with both of these interviews, Travis, and I'm just curious your thoughts on this, is as we know, Hunter Johnson was allegedly, Hunter Johnson was another one of Ethan's best friends. Very close they were, both of them supposedly, okay? And based on the things that Hunter Johnson has explained and the way he explained it and what we've seen and so on and so forth, him and Ethan sound to be as close as him and Pete did. Okay.
Mhm.
So I'm curious if that's true. And I'm only saying this because I thought of my own personal relationships with my friends. I was real close with a couple guys from the fire department.
Yeah.
And then back in the day, I was very close with the guys that I played in the bands with. We were always together. So if Ethan and Pete are so close and Hunter and Ethan are so close, why did we not one time hear Hunter J's name brought up in anything Pete was talking about? Not once.
And did Hunter mention Peter? I haven't analyzed Hunter.
I can't remember. His interview was pretty quick. He makes some weird statements. That's what you need to analyze, is his statement at the memorial. That was wild. He talks about money that Ethan owed him and this, and makes a lot of weird jokes, and it's just off. But that's a good point to ask too, though. Rach is asking. Hold on a minute here. He studied under Peter Hyatt, Rach.
Yeah.
Who did statement analysis. You're not a linguist, correct?
No. I love language. I love English. I have a passion about it.
Yeah.
I love words. I love meaning. But no, I'm not formally educated in much, honestly. I only have some college, but
yeah, Thank you, Bianca.
I'm like you. I like to learn something every day. I tell my kids, if I don't learn one new thing a day, I don't feel like I'm fulfilling my purpose. So knowledge is really important to me.
Yeah. I have said the same thing time and time again. That's crazy.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, I think yes, 100%. I think it's crazy that Hunter's name didn't come up in this at all. If they're that close, I can't imagine that Ethan spent all this time with this guy and didn't have this guy involved somewhere. Okay. I just think that's odd. And I don't know if he's not talking about Hunter because it wasn't true, or because there was a problem that there was between Pete and Hunter, or Pete, Ethan and Hunter, or Ethan, Hunter and Pete, or whatever you want to look at it. That's why I wonder that. I truly do.
That's a great question. And I can't wait to dive into Hunter to kind of help answer this even more. But it's a very curious sign. And if it does come down to, hey, Hunter's looking good. I mean, Hunter is talking about Ethan in a really healthy way. He's speaking to the quality. And now we're seeing that closeness that we're not seeing with Ethan. With Peter, my gosh.
No, I got it.
Then it clarifies even further. Then it's like, no wonder Peter wasn't talking about Hunter. The parts aren't fitting here.
Yeah.
Pieces aren't fitting.
I think that's kind of important because there's been some things stated about some different interactions and there being some possibilities, because as we all know, if anybody has watched any of the Sigma Chi interviews with the Sigma Chi members, the law enforcement side of things, all they pointed to was money, drugs, income, things like that with Ethan. I mean, it was nonstop through the whole thing. They repeatedly asked questions about his money, about the drugs he could have been involved in. So they basically, in my opinion, were trying to get people to say, was Ethan dealing drugs? Okay, how did he get his income? And every time, it's weird, Travis, every time they would bring up the income and they would start talking about it, they'd shut it down and redact it. Every time. It makes me wonder, is all I'm saying.
Well, and it makes me wonder if, man, they really thought that the money and the drugs were the angle.
Yeah.
Was going to uncover this.
Yes.
It seems like, based on what you're saying, is they thought that was the trail to go through.
Uh-huh.
And based on what I'm looking at, they didn't look at the love side of things.
I agree with you. Yeah.
And missed it. And at least missed to explore for it. Right.
And the funny thing is that Ethan's mother, within 2 days of the crime, came out, made a statement to the world, and said, I just wanted to get in front of this and make sure that it's very well known that this was not a crime of passion. There was no love triangle. And this was not drug related. And I was like, where did that come from? Like, right out of the gate, that's the first thing she does. Within 2 days. Because the mayor had made the statement. Oh yeah. I could show you the interview.
My wife probably told me that, and it's just another thing that slipped through the cracks for me.
No, there's so much. I get it. But yeah, that was his mother. She made the one statement about 2 a.m. as a dark hour. Okay. And then exactly right. She was right there with it. And then she made that statement in her first. In fact, I'll just show you the clip real fast. It's like a real quick 30-second thing that she stated. Just give me 1 minute here.
And I got a question for you when you're ready too.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, go ahead and ask your question before I roll this. Oh, I had. That's okay. Everybody asked that.
That's gnarly looking.
It is. I believe me. I've had many conversations back in the day when it first happened. Of course, I got offended, and I would make up weird, crazy things about it, and say stupid things like my wife attacked me with an axe, stupid stuff like that. You know, but truly, it doesn't bother me at all at this point. I had what's called an AVM, arterial ventricular malformation. It's something you're born with, and what it is the veins in the arteries grow like through our body. They all go in a straight line. What happened here, and it was right there. You're born with it, and as you grow and you get older, it gets bigger. So, they kind of like do this, like it looks like on the
kind of clump up.
Yeah. It all balls up like this. So at the same point, blood cannot flow clearly through it, and it causes all sorts of problems, and it can cause stroke or it can cause the big thing, embolism and stuff like that. Okay, aneurysm. Yeah, sorry. And so I was having weird symptoms. I was working at the fire department, and I would like one time I was sitting there holding my coffee cup talking to somebody, and literally I just threw it over my shoulder. Or I was walking through the store one day, my left leg gave out, I fell on the ground. I'd be talking to people, and all of a sudden I started talking like this with my leg. It was crazy stuff, dude. Jeez. It was weird. So, knowing my own body, working in EMS and all that kind of stuff, I went to the doctors for 6 months, and I kept telling you, there's something wrong with me, there's something wrong with me, there's something wrong with me. And here's the perfect thing, guys, to understand about insurance. If you don't have good insurance, good luck. Because I begged them to do certain tests on me. All they did was the very basic stuff. They wouldn't do, and I kept saying, please do an MRI, please do an MRI, please do an MRI. Oh, you don't need it. We did a CAT scan with contrast. We did this, we did that. I said, I'm telling you, do an MRI. So I had to lie around it. I had hurt my back at that point, and I was supposed to have an MRI done that I had to cancel because I couldn't get out of work to do it. And I was going to reschedule. And at some point I was like, you know what? Piss on this. So I called them back and I said, hey, I need to reschedule this MRI that I was having. It was through a private facility that did it. And then they were going to send the results to my doctor. And they kept telling me there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. It's all in your head. Remember that phrase.
Goodness gracious.
You know, it was psychosomatic, all this stuff. So anyway, I rescheduled the MRI. They were like, and this is for what? I said, well, it's for something going on with my head, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be for my back. I went in the next day at 11 a.m., had the MRI. By 5 p.m. that day, my doctor's office called and said, can you come in the morning? The doctor wants to see you. Sure. I knew what that was for. And I went in, and they explained what it was. And December 1st of 2020, I had it removed at Cleveland Clinic. And
good for you, man. I'd love to hear
knock on wood, everything turned out okay so far. So yeah,
well,
but if I wouldn't have done what I did, though, it makes me wonder, like, what could have happened? You know, it's crazy. And I went to the doctor from the emergency room that I kept going back to see, and I was like, I finally, after the surgery and everything, and I healed, I took the picture and the documents and said, hey, remember me? And he was real cocky and arrogant. He doesn't work there anymore, by the way. And I said, yeah. Or he's like, yeah, what can we do for you today, Mr. Mayors? He knew my name at that point because I had gone so many times in 6 months. And I said, I just wanted to show you something. I said, remember when you were telling me all those issues that were in my head? I said, I want to thank you because you were right. I said, but they were this way. And I showed it to him, and he just stood there and went, well, and I just turned around and walked away. I was so pissed.
Good
I'm
for
telling
you, dude.
It is what it is.
I love it, man. This is something that I tell my wife. I mean, we don't have insurance. So we've gone uninsured, and you know, she has epilepsy.
Oh yeah, that's horrible.
Really hard, really hard. And the whole insurance thing. I mean, I think, and I'm probably going to offend some people here, but I mean, I'm just going to tell you my honest opinion. I think insurance is a complete racket. I think
It
it's
is.
completely destroyed our medical system. We have had bills come in that are marked for like $10,000, and then we call them. We're like, "Hey, we don't have insurance," and they're like, "Oh, well, hold on, we'll get back to you." And they get back, and then they cross it out, and they put $500. Why? Because they can charge the insurance companies that. Which, what does that do? Then that takes the insurance companies, and it just raises all the rates for everyone else, because medical facilities and stuff can just bill anything to insurance companies and they'll pay it, and then they just raise the rates to the consumer. It's a huge problem that at the end of the day it just really harms us as just civilians, and it drives me nuts. But the second thing is you took your own medical health, you took your own health in your own hands, and that to me is everything. Like, people, I think, just trust doctors, and I'm not saying doctors are bad or nurses are bad. I love the medical field. The biology of humans is fascinating. There's so much great education they get, and specialists are needed, and all of that stuff. But they, at the same time, you're just one of many, and this is your body, this is your health. Take that, like, be the driver's seat of your own health, and ask the right questions, and push for the right things, and push for the right tests, because they have this kind of protocol and stuff, and they have this system, and you may not fit in it, And so, no, I love that you took the driver's seat. You took the initiative to make sure you got what you needed, and it may have made it so you're here today, man.
You have to do it sometimes, you guys. I agree with you, and thank you for that. Although I don't trust in the medical as much as I don't trust in the justice system anymore.
Right.
It's all about money. That's all they care about is money.
Right.
So, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, thank you for asking, because a lot of people are afraid to ask me, and I don't want anybody to be. I'll tell that story every day, twice a day if I need to.
It's a beautiful story, and
it is something I'm very proud of, because, like I said, I may not be sitting here if I wouldn't have done that. If I'd have just trusted in what they told me, which you can't do that, guys. You gotta know your own body, and you gotta double check everything. Is all I'm saying. So
listen to your body; it'll tell you.
Absolutely. But anyway, moving on.
Cool. Thanks, man.
You're good. You're good. I want to show you this statement that she makes real quick, and then let's see. We've been here 2.5. I think we're about good. I know you worked all day, and I think I'm going to let you go at this point after this, and I get your thoughts on this.
Cool.
I'm sure you're exhausted, sir. I appreciate you doing this after working all day too.
I've had a blast, man. This has been really good. So the time has gone by very fast.
I very much appreciate it too. It's always a good time when you're here. I appreciate you very much. All right, let me find this point here. Give me 1 second.
And it's hard to have people speaking on his behalf to do this. Is number one, you're local. And I think the other thing that's important to us is the reason why we've agreed to do this is number one, you're local. And number two, it's important for us to get Ethan's story out. We don't really want anybody else representing him. And it's hard to have people speaking on his behalf. So we think it's best for us to do this.
And you did say, of course, that he was a triplet and looking for.
The thing that's important to us is the reason he's a triplet, and that's the thing that you're going to have to speak with the funeral home directors if your kids expect to hear ever. But that's a tough question.
Give me a minute. I'm just trying to find. I couldn't remember if it was before or after she said that.
So good. You'll find it.
I know it's here.
Who's that right there?
This is Stacy Chapin. This is Jim Chapin, and that girl is a reporter that covered this from.
Okay.
I can't remember which news station it was.
Local station.
Yeah, she was a local station to them.
Yeah, we're in our home in northern Idaho, our summer home.
All right, come on.
Hey, I'll just say something. Some other interesting things about the second interview is right off the bat. Peter says at the victim's house, we just sat there and hung out. He talks about, he says at the victim's house, Ethan and Xana's, and you know, to refer to the house as a victim's house. That's crazy. That's definitely distancing language. But also, it's a little redacted here. But Lake asks, "Who are y'all hanging out with?" And he says, "Ethan and Xana." And then he says, "One of the girls that lived there, and another girl that lived there." And it sounds like he's talking about Bethany and Dylan, and they're just one of the girls. They don't have names. So um, that was really interesting, and again supports when in the first interview. Did you find it?
Yeah, I did. Keep going though.
Okay.
I'm listening to what you're
Oh,
saying too.
well, in the first interview, it's redacted, but it appears that when um, Layman asks Peter about, "Hey, how do you know Kaylee and Maddie? How do you know about Bethany and Dylan?" And man, he gets real sensitive about knowing them.
Interesting. And he does say in the first interview at some point, "Have you talked to the brother and sister?" He doesn't say their name.
The brother and sister.
Yes, the brother and sister. I thought that was like very insensitive and outside of very impersonal, and he knew them both. He was with them that night. They all hung out together, but didn't say Hunter and Maisie, "Have you talked to the brother and sister?" That bothered the hell out of me.
It bothered me as well. Bad sign.
That's you did, yeah. Very good point. Very good point. So this is the point where, and that's what I was wondering too, Witchy. It's like he doesn't care for them. It's weird. Big red flag. Thank you, Bianca.
Big red flag.
And I think I'd like to know what Travis thinks about Hunter and Maisie Chapin saying that they are twins now, because they were asked at the BMV where their brother was when they rescued or renewed, not rescued, Jesus, sorry, renewed their license. That is a good point too.
Oh man, really? They don't refer to themselves as triplets. Well, look, it might just be hard to just talk about that. It might be something where every time they mention triplets, they have to talk. And I hate to say this, but they have to talk about that, and it's painful. So, and someone who's, I don't like talking about sometimes. I don't like talking about those who I've lost. I do avoid it because it's like it's painful.
Yeah.
And I just don't, I'm having a good day and I'm having a good time. And to talk about it is, it's just rough. And some other times I'm really glad to talk about it. But so I don't know. I mean, I've not seen that. I don't know exactly the context and all of that, but that's just my first impression of it.
Sure. Makes sense. Makes sense. I get it. It's definitely an interesting point and good one to bring up, Lucy. Okay, so I think she's about to go into the whole thing. Like she says, the reason we're here and we agreed to do this. This is where she explains it.
We've agreed to do this is there's some misinformation out there, and that's been hard for us. And that's why we, as a family, talked about it and agreed to do this, because the things that are being said are 100% not true. There's not drugs involved. There's not some weird love triangle. Ethan stayed the night at his girlfriend's house, who was one of 5 girls who lived in the home.
This is 2 days after the murders, by the way. Okay. How do you know that? And I don't mean this. I mean this with absolute respect towards the family. But how do you know that to make that statement is my question, Travis. Okay. The way she's putting it out there, literally 2 days after this happens. Granted, the siblings are there and are telling her things, I'm sure. But who knows that at this point? Nobody would know that, I wouldn't think. 2 days into this.
That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one, because a mother's grief does some things. And who's been in her ear? Is this law enforcement?
Yeah.
Is this friends? Is this other, her other kids? Is this her speaking from an emotional standpoint of, I refuse to believe that this was someone close to Ethan? This might just be her projecting a lot of emotional feelings about it all and not thinking about things objectively. I don't know, man. I mean, this
That
is
makes
kind of
sense.
funky. It's kind of funky for sure. I just don't hold grieving mothers to their. I mean, I'm looking for, obviously, is there some sort of deception? Were they involved? But other than that, I mean, people when they're grieving and stuff, they may be defensive of people they shouldn't be defensive of, and
Yeah.
so they may be deceived and they may be passionate about their belief there, but they're actually being deceived. I mean, I don't know, man. What's your take from it?
Well, it bothered me a little bit because she came out so quickly and like had to make this statement. We know that there were substances found on the dresser in Xana's room. There were substances within them both. Okay. And at the same time, we now know that maybe they didn't know then, but we now know that there was at least 2 messages sent to Ethan by somebody by the name of Erica, whether they're real or not. It said that you're being cheated on. So
Mhm.
it just it makes me wonder why she came out so quickly before there was even any form of a real investigation even started, and made that statement. Like I understand you're trying to
Yeah.
keep your child's name in under a good light, but at the same time, you don't really know that yet. And I hate to talk down and make it sound like I'm talking down about any of the victims'
No,
families. I'm really
no,
not. It just really
no.
bothered me. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand that.
Hey,
Who
right,
knows what's
Lucy.
going on behind the scenes there?
It's
Ultra
just
sus stuff to say, yeah, within 48 hours.
it's pretty wild. Yeah, the autopsies hadn't
Yeah.
happened yet. None of that's known. But
To
she put it
me,
out right away.
this is a strong indication of mother intuition, a mother instinct to protect her baby, to protect his name, and Ethan and drugs. She wants to avoid that as much as possible. I understand that.
Sure.
It maybe bring shame to her and to Ethan's name. She wants to protect his name as much as possible. And so she's not thinking, it's very likely she's not thinking at this time at the objective reality here of, hey, we need to look at everybody. The instinct to protect her baby seems
Yeah,
real strong here. So I think that's at least a decent explanation, a possibility.
absolutely. And it
I
does
mean,
make sense. It does. And you gotta think about it that way too, guys. Um, well, that's a good point too,
I
Jamie.
if this happened to one of my kids, I mean, I would hate to see that. Like to drag it would feel like people are dragging my son or my daughter's name through the mud and not talking about the other 99.9% about them,
Yeah. Yep.
maybe a mistake that they had made, maybe he'd done Adderall. Why do I have to see it in every single article, every YouTube video? You know what I mean? So I
Yep.
kind of get it.
Sure, sure. And
But
that's a good answer. I like that. That's the only one that makes any sense, to be honest with you.
yeah,
The rest of it, if you look at it another way, it's like, what is
yeah.
going on here?
And that might be true too. What I'm saying might not be true. I mean, this is just me speculating.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, guys. That's what we're
Yeah.
all doing with this in a lot of ways. Or does anybody have any last questions for Mr. Travis before I let him go? Like I said, I'm sure he's exhausted at this point. Um, this has been awesome, though. I really appreciate it.
I
Again,
love
I'm
being on
looking
with you,
forward.
man. Thank you so
We're gonna do
much,
it
bro.
again too. We're gonna do it again here
Yeah.
after you get through some more of these.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to it. One I would really like to see you go break it down. Two is Molly McMichaels is one of them,
Yeah.
and a couple of the Gonsalves interviews.
Okay.
Truly,
Okay.
I'm just if you're interested in doing those, I'd like to see it. I know they're a family of a victim, but I still think that the interviews need to be looked at. I'm just saying,
Okay.
there's some things that are said that really kind of bug me, and I'm curious what your thoughts are behind the meaning of it. Is all I'm saying. So
Well, I have a huge list. I know
I know you do. Yeah.
you mentioned that Custy Queens has mentioned, she gave me a list. Um uh is it Kirsten or Kristen?
Kristen. Yeah.
Kristen. Um she gave me a list. I still have that list. I have not worked on that. And a lot of people, watch, comments and stuff like stuff like that. And I feel bad because it's like the list keeps getting bigger, and I'm slowly,
No, you're good.
But like I said, Peter's second, and then Lakeland right now, and then from
Yeah.
there, I'm not exactly sure, but probably one of the Jacks. I personally would really like to look at Kaylee's boyfriend, Jack.
Yes.
What's his last name?
Decor.
And then there's the driver, which is another Jack.
Eric Gower. Yeah.
Eric Gower. Oh, okay. And then there's Showalter.
Jack Showalter was the other one that walked with the two girls to the grub truck that night.
Two girls. Yeah, there's that guy. So, but man, I mean, all in due time.
Yeah. Take your time, please. Like I said earlier, before we started the show, please don't burn yourself out. We want you around here for a while, for sure. And again, I'm very, very grateful that you were able to do this with us tonight. I know it was kind of short notice that you agreed to it.
Okay,
and like I said, after working a full day's work, and then coming here, I really appreciate you. But again, I want to let you go for that reason. Thank you again, Travis. I'm looking forward to, like I said, to the next time, guys. Please make sure, if you have not yet, subscribe to Travis D. Logic and support over there, because what he does is absolutely amazing and helpful beyond a limit that you guys can understand if you don't. It's amazing. It's a great resource. I'm glad that you're here again, and I'm more than grateful for you, sir. So thank you so very much.
You're too kind, my friend, man. I appreciate everything you've done. I appreciate you inviting me, supporting me, and I feel the love, man. Thank you so much. It's been great.
You too, sir. You and your wife have a wonderful rest of your night, and I will see you soon, my friend.
Peace out, bro.
All right, brother. Take care.
Peace.
Great stuff tonight, guys. Great stuff. Very much appreciated. Great show. Great conversation. And I can't wait till the next. I'm looking forward to it again and again. Again, please make sure to subscribe to Travis over at Travis D. Logic. Thank you, Bianca. I promise you, if you don't, you're going to be disappointed. I know it's time consuming to sit and listen to what he breaks down, but you got to hear it. You got to hear it to understand it. To understand it, you got to hear it. So I think it's very important. Does anybody have any more questions in the chat, guys, at all? Of course, I have no problems to answer any of them. We got about 15 more minutes I could waste with you guys. Of course, no time is never enough time with you guys. I could spend every day with you guys all day if I had the ability to, but I want to thank you all for joining us for sure. Witchy has a request. Let's see here. Thank you again, Ariana, for sharing Travis with us. I really do appreciate you, dear. And I appreciate your support of the channel, and all of us as creators do, for allowing your husband to spend the time that he does on this and to bring it to us. More than you know, dear. We do appreciate you. I'm looking for your request, Witchy. I think I missed it. Let me see. Looks like Miss Kim is here with us. Request. Oh, there we go. Request for future live. The Prime documentary, One Night in Idaho, has Hunter J, Emily, and Josie talking about the 911 call in the first episode. Couple of relevant bombs. Good point, Witchy. One Night in Idaho. Absolutely, we can break that down. Okay. Let me see here. Let me see. Scully Newberger. I love the name. Olivia's first interview, sitting next to her husband, and Gower, who absolutely refused to say what time he dropped girls off, right? And again, I would just like to speak to our earlier show this afternoon. I wanted to respectfully, once again, apologize for anybody that may have gotten upset or offended. My deepest apologies, of course. That's never a goal here, and it won't happen again. That's a fact. That's been dealt with, and it will never happen again in either aspect. The community is very important to me. Every single solitary person in this community is very important to me. I truly do, absolutely, without a doubt, whether you believe it or not, love each and every one of you. that is part of this community, this family. That goes for all of you, every single one of you. So I appreciate you being here and supporting me the way you do and you have. And truly, that's all I can say. I can't express enough how important this community is to me and the people in it. So that being said, if there's any no other questions or anything, I will be back here tomorrow, hopefully at the normal time, early afternoon, or basically after Kim's show is over. I try to go live at that point to jump into the next part of Back to Basics on the Idaho 4 case and whatever else I can jump into. Thank you guys so very much for being here tonight. Please make sure, if you have not done it, to hit the like button, to share this out. And don't forget, folks, to love yourselves and love each other. And please, 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 as I always say, don't change a thing, because I truly do love who you are just the way you are. Thank you so much for being you, folks. Nothing but love, and I will see you all very soon. Good night.
The coffee's cold, the final stain. We laid the map out in the pouring rain. No hidden corners left to creep. The dark truth woke while the city was asleep. The evidence lines up straight and true. A perfect picture of what they chose to do. The quiet street erupts in flashing light. A reckoning delivered in the night. SWAT serves the warrant, loud and clear. The sound of justice, the only thing we hear. At the TruCrime Cafe, we watch the suspect finally pay. The dark truth is backed and signed and sealed. The wound is closed, the name is finally healed. It's finally healed. The cafe's empty, closed for the night. We put the darkness back into the light. We'll wipe the counter